NASCAR on Fox welcomes you to race 3 of the 2003 NASCAR Winston Cup Series. From Daytona to Rockingham to the desert of Nevada and Las Vegas. Will one of the makes declare aerodynamic superiority today? Will there be a stunning upset such as Roy Jones Jr. scored in this city last night? Or will it be one of the odds-on favorites? More than 120,000 fans have filled every seat of this mile-and-a-half quad oval to find out. 400 miles of Winston Cup racing on Fox this afternoon under bright sunny skies and a somewhat chilly day. Let's go trackside for today's opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise for the presentation of the colors from the Nellis Air Force Base Honor Guard, and remain standing for today's invocation, which will be delivered by Mr. Arnold Nelson from Hope Methodist Church in Bullhead City, Arizona.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this glorious day. Father, we just thank you for all these people here today, and especially for all the fine drivers and their crew. Father, we pray today for a safe race. Please bless everyone here. And Father, we ask a special blessing on the men and women who are overseas fighting for our freedom. Father, we also ask you to be with and comfort the families of the astronauts who were killed in the Columbia disaster. Help us always remember, Father, it's not our will that's important, but thy will. Let thy will be done. Amen.
Remain standing, ladies and gentlemen. Here to honor America with the singing of our national anthem is Miss Tina Walsh.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail as the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch, where so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the brave.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here to present the 4 most famous words in motorsports from UAW Daimler Chrysler, Mr. Jimmy Davis.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
3 cars at the ready. 45-car field, 2 drivers, Brandon Ash and Busch champion Greg Biffle, going home. Mike Joy with Larry McReynolds. And Larry, we've been to Daytona, a restrictor plate track. We've been to Rockingham, an abrasive handling track, and now we're at the type of track that predominates this circuit. A 1.5 to 2 mile medium bank, D-shaped oval, high speed, lots of downforce. What will be the keys to winning here?
Well, I think with all the changes that NASCAR and the manufacturers made over the winter, with making all the cars aero equal, this is where we're going to see the first version of it right here. Daytona, it's about horsepower and drag. Rockingham, it's about tire conservation, who can take care of the tires. But here, it takes 31, 32 seconds to get around this racetrack. 2/3 of that time is spent in these flat corners, and this is where the downforce will really come into play. But you know what? What normally wins this race is no mistakes. No mistakes on pit road and making those right adjustments as this track changes over the course of this race.
And one thing that will be key is that yesterday in the Busch race, this is absolutely a 2-groove side-by-side racetrack. And I hope we'll see a lot more of the same today.
You're just tough by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man, no time to talk. Mr. Cloud and the woman warm. I've been kicked around since I was born. Now it's alright, it's okay. You may look the other way. You can try to understand. New York Times effect on man. Whether your brother was your mother, with staying alive, staying alive. Can't see shaking, everybody breaking. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive.
We're on the first pace lap here in Las Vegas. In every big game, in every big sport, there's always a pep talk. Matt Clark, the pit crew coordinator for Jimmy Johnson's team, just gathered his troops together.
The car's been good all weekend. All right, we had great pit stops last week. I just want to build on that this week. All right, you got a rubber in the left rear. All right, two halves, right? You know what you got to do when you got to pull them. Anderson, left side. You know what you got to do on a little bump there. Smooth hand in, smooth lugs. Dave, you're going up front, covering that deal for Gary. Again, you guys rodeo up front, nice and smooth. Let's have a good, solid day. Let's do nothing to take Jimmy out of this race, okay? The car is good. The car is really good. So all we have to do is just maintain and have good, solid pit stop. Let's be there at the end. Today's word is let's get it done. Get it done, all right? Get it done on 3 right here. 1, 2, 3. Get it done!
Then Matt went down pit lane, gave much the same talk to Jeff Gordon's team. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, is the proud sponsor of the Bud Pole Award, given the fastest qualifier at each NASCAR Winston Cup race. Today's Bud Pole Award goes to Bobby Labonte. Since 1979, Anheuser-Busch has awarded more than $8 million as the title sponsor of the NASCAR Pole Award program. So let's have a look at the starting lineup for today's race with Labonte alongside Jeff Gordon, a pair of Chevrolets on row 1. The Dodge of Ryan Newman with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevy in row 2. And then Darrell, the hometown hero, Kurt Busch, lines up inside row 3.
Let's see if we can get him. Hey, Kurt Busch, this is DW at my TV tower. How you read, bud?
Good, DW. How you guys doing?
We're doing good, man. You've been fast all week. How's it look for today?
Well, it's the hometown. We're having a good time since we've been here. We've been fast, but this is just a regular race for the crew members. So the Rubbermaid team and I are just going to do the best that we can today and keep track of this racetrack. Last week we got a little bit behind it. Just an epic battle with DJ and I. This week we want to come out on top.
How did it feel to sleep in your own bed last night? That had to be good.
Well, I brought the motorhome out here just to try to keep things as normal as I could. There's a lot of things going on out here that are a lot of fun. So we just played good boy last night. We're looking for a good run today.
All right, bud. You be a good boy today and win this race, buddy. Good luck.
You got it. Thanks, DW.
Not 6 years ago, Kurt Busch was stocking supermarket shelves as a high schooler here, and now he's one of the premier drivers in Winston Cup racing.
I think for the first time this year, we don't have anyone that has to go to the rear of the field. No backup cars, no engine changes. Everybody will start where they actually qualified on Friday night.
And as you saw through that grid, Darrell, a lot of talent, a lot of potential winners starting very deep in this field.
You know, it's funny about this place. The furthest up anybody's ever started one is 7th. Last year, both winners, last year the winner started 24th. Jeff Gordon started 24th to win this race. So for some odd reason, back in the pack is a good pick.
Let's talk about something we haven't been able to talk about all weekend. We have beautiful weather. There is not a cloud in the sky. We're in the desert, but something we'll keep up with all day long is this track temperature. It is very sensitive. If it does cool down, you're going to see these handling characteristics of these cars change. You heard Kurt Busch talk about getting behind. You can't get behind on your adjustments.
Yesterday, the track was really hot when these guys practiced, and it all of a sudden changed their thinking about these race cars. They were real happy with the track temperature, 50 degrees, but when it got hot and sunny, whoa, what happened?
400 miles around this mile-and-a-half track is going to be 267 laps.
And one thing I love, the pit window here, strategy, strategy, strategy. There wasn't a lot of strategy last week at Rockingham. The yellow flag comes out, you get 4 tires here. We're going to see 2 tires. We're going to see no tires. But those green flag stops, watch the entrance to pit road. It can get exciting. And DW, like I tell you every week, 267 laps, reach up there and pull those belts tight, baby.
I'm coming to the line, Larry. I got them pulled tight. I'm waiting for that flag. There it is. Boogity, 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 boys. Let's go racing.
Yesterday in the Busch race now, immediately we saw that second groove working. You see Jeff Gordon in the 24 car gets a good bite. He's going to pull away by about 3 car lengths off turn 2. Good grip in that second groove.
Boy, it really was. He got a great shot out of 2 over there, and down the back he goes with a pretty nice lead for the first lap.
And Bobby Labonte, the pole sitter, he's already moved up into the second groove because he saw what it did for Jeff Gordon.
This will be the first time that Jeff Gordon has led a lap this year.
Boy, he's leading it in fine fashion.
And you know something, I watched him practice. He qualified well. He came out here and tested. I believe he's going to be a real contender today. That was your pick, wasn't it?
It was my pick.
Good job. My guy's running second.
Tell you what, Kurt Busch, he's not wasting any time in that 97 car. He started 5th. He's already up to 2nd in a lap and a half.
Well, he and Jeff Gordon all weekend long, what practice we had, they were the 2 fastest cars just pretty consistently, time and time again.
And pole sitter Bobby Labonte has backslid now to a 6th place fight with John Andretti.
I don't think Bobby or Terry or Tony, either one, was happy with their cars. They made a lot of changes on them this morning.
From Michael Waltrip.
Now, you want to see something, you watch that speedometer over there. I'm glad they don't. I wouldn't want a speedometer in my car.
This is going down the backstretch into turn 3. Almost 185 miles an hour, and it only falls down to about 148 in the middle of turn 3 and 4 before he picks that throttle back up.
And that's pretty much in traffic. I mean, he's probably a little quicker than that if he was in clean air.
Tony Stewart, 7th place. Off to a much better start than in 2002. Steve Burns.
Well, as DW mentioned, the 20 team made numerous changes to the chassis on that 20 car. In fact, the crew members told me this morning they have no idea what this race car is going to do. They had a great test here, but they never could get Tony comfortable in practice yesterday. They said we're either going to be the fastest car on the racetrack or we're going to have to play catch-up all day long.
And Darrell, even though we're seeing 2 grooves of racing, I've always, the speed you carry here, it's such a hit-your-mark, line-sensitive racetrack.
Oh, yeah, you drive the thing down in the corner so hard. I mean, you stay in the throttle till it just about scares you to death. And then the car's got to be there for you. The car's got to take a set so you can turn it and get off the corner under power.
And you heard Robbie Gordon coming off that corner. Gas it, ease it, gas it again to keep the car under him.
You set the cars up a little free, as we like to say, to start these races because the things are going to get tighter. The rubber gets down on the track. The cars will just get tighter and tighter and tighter. That's the tip. Really, that's one of the hardest things to do. The early going of a run is to hang on to your race car because it's always a little free, but it'll come to you. At least that's what they always told me it would do.
Yeah, if that thing's pushing in the first 2 or 3 laps, that push is probably not going to go away. No. It's just going to get worse. Turn less and less.
John Andretti outside Michael Waltrip, and right behind them, Jerry Nadeau with a new sponsor on board.
And you watch these cars come off turn 4 here, just right there where the cars are, they get so close to that wall, and you'll see a lot of cars brush that wall off of turn 4.
We saw contact between Jimmy Spencer and Jerry Nadeau coming through the quad oval and start finish.
You carry so much speed through here. It looks pretty easy. You know, it's just a little trowel deal here, but you're turning the wheel quite a bit through the trowel, and you can get into a guy real easily.
And you can get 3 wide real easily.
Whoa, hello. Didn't like that.
I mean, you just carry so much speed on the exit of turn 2 and turn 4, the car just lunges against the wall on the late exit on the straightaway.
And you need the whole racetrack when you're all the way in the gas, because that thing is going to wash out all the way to that wall.
Ricky Rudd had a tough weekend to start. Started out back. Jeff Gordon now with a 1.2-second lead. Jamie McMurray right there in a draft with Jimmy Spencer and Jeff Green, battling Todd Bodine in that battle as well. Boy, what a week he had last week.
Oh, he did. I mean, he had a 5th in the Cup race and then came back on Monday and won that Busch race. Kids pumped. I tell you, he and Donnie Wingo are doing a great job together.
And he had a great race car yesterday in that Busch race. I mean, he had to start at the back of the field in a car with no practice after wrecking in practice on Friday night in his primary car, and until they had that battery charging system problem, he was marching to the front in that Busch car.
And if you heard in the pre-race show, one of the key words I heard, he said, I trust Donnie Wingo. I trust him to give me what I need, to give me a car I need. I think that's huge.
Jeff Gordon has led all the first 9 laps, the first laps he's led in 2003. Kurt Busch is 2.5 back. Dale Jr., Ryan Newman, and Jeff Burton, the winningest driver here, is close back in 5th. Jeff Gordon leading Kurt Busch. You see the margin is just about 2 seconds, and Dale Jr. has caught Kurt Busch.
And Dale Jr.'s car looks really good, and of course, Gordo's sitting out there all by himself right now.
You know, talking to Dale Jr.'s crew this morning, they said, you know, we were a little unhappy with our car on the short runs, but real happy in the long runs, and that's normally what we have here is long green runs.
Long green runs. But, you know, those guys came out here and tested, and Michael told me he and Dale Jr. and all, they were so happy with their cars when they left here. So it doesn't surprise me to see them running well.
You want to know a guy that has picked some positions up? Jimmy Spencer in the 7 car. He started back in 15th, and he's been getting about a car every 2 or 3 laps. These guys came out here and tested as well, Darrell, and all they did for 2 days is work on race setup. There you see on the Fox tracks, he's about 8 seconds behind our leader, Jeff Gordon. But Jimmy Spencer has always ran well at this racetrack, actually won a Busch race here.
Well, one thing I'm seeing, Larry, off all these cars, though, is they're running really, really high off turn 4 down there, higher than I think I've ever seen them come off of there. That outside groove is really working good for everybody.
2 other big movers are Sterling Marlin and Todd Bodine, the 54, each of whom had picked up 10 positions.
Just Todd Bodine, you know, he set on pole here last year with a new track record at that time, and it was the only top 5 that he had last year was right here.
Todd had a birthday on Thursday, turned 39 on Thursday.
You want me to sing now, or you want me to wait?
Oh, we better wait. We're a little early in the telecast.
Let's wait till he turns 40.
Yeah, and Booty, you know, Booty Barker had his birthday today, too. So
Crew chief for Dave Blanchard.
And speaking of 40, that's Sterling's number. And he's gained 11 positions since they dropped the green flag. The defending champion of this race is right now in 23rd.
Started back in 34th.
There you go. Biggest movers.
And I tell you, he likes this race car, even though it has a new body on it because of the body location changes in the nose. This is the same car that he won here in Darlington with last year, the same chassis, and the same chassis that Jamie McMurray won at Charlotte, Lowe's Motor Speedway in October. So they like this chassis.
Jeff and I were talking down there, you know, and we feel like Sterling's one of those guys we're going to hear a whole lot about until maybe the middle of the race, toward the end of the race, because his car is set up for the long haul. And you didn't hear a lot about him here last year until the end of the race.
Right behind him, Dale Jarrett and Bill Elliott were riding with Jarrett. And Bill is ill. And that's no pun. He's got the flu. He's got something. The car just hasn't worked too well, and he's kind of under the weather as they go 3 wide around Sterling. Jeannie?
Well, interesting, guys, is he's teamed up with 2 rookies. He didn't test out here at Las Vegas. He let the young kids make the trek across the country. Sterling said we're going to go with some of their notes that they had and then just experiment with some of what we have, and so far it is working. It's the spring combinations, of course, that he's working on from last year that found him success at this track. So far, so good.
Yeah, Jeannie, I know that group, they went to Kentucky and tested, which a lot of people go there because that don't get charged against one of your 5 tests. And this is a in-house Robert Yates chassis. It's the same chassis that they ran at Homestead at the end of last year.
All right, let's set the interval for you from Jeff Gordon, who has led all 20 laps, coming around to lead 21. Not a prohibitive favorite here, but a strong favorite. Kurt Busch, I guess, was second on the odds chart.
Yeah, he was. I think you just got to look at his performance over the last half of last year and the beginning of this year. And every time you look up at the end of the day, his numbers up there in the first 2 or 3.
So there's Gordon. Here is Busch. That's what 1.9 seconds looks like from first to second. We'll go back and pick up 7th place, Ryan Newman and Michael Waltrip.
But Larry, don't you think if you started off with your car really, really good right now, that you're going to have to make some changes, adjustments on it later on, because the track's going to go through quite a bit of change?
But when I go back to like when Jeff Gordon won here a couple of years ago, that's one thing I think that Jeff Gordon has always been good at, giving his crew chief feedback to the changes the racetrack's going through. That's certainly something Ray Evernham was always really good at, is making those adjustments. And I see Robbie Loomis now. He knows what Jeff's needing as this racetrack changes.
But there's a problem here. He won this race 2 years ago. There was $1 million at stake. There was the no bull race here.
Right.
$1 million. He seemed to excel. He seemed to be, every time there was one of those races, he seemed to be up there getting that $1 million. So we'll see if what the incentive is today, other than just the fact he wants to win.
Now, Darrell, did you ever look at the payoff sheet before the race started?
That's the funniest thing. Guys that have never won a race in their whole life say, man, I'm going to that race. It pays $1,000 to win.
Well, that's great if you can win it.
They never look at how much last place pays.
Right.
See, our Fox tracks, this is on Elliott Sadler, the 38 car. He's almost a half a lap behind our leader, Jeff Gordon. Now, he started back in 23rd. He's not made that much of a move. They have struggled with this race car. I talked to Robert Yates this morning and Todd Parrott, who is now director of competition. I said, what is the difference in the 38 and 88? Because Dale Jarrett was good in practice. They said Elliott Sadler is running a store-bought chassis. Dale Jarrett's running an in-house chassis. I said, Todd, when are you going to run the same chassis on both cars in-house? He said, can you say starting next week?
Right.
I think there'll be all in-house chassis from now on for the 38 Elliott Sadler and the 88 Dale Jarrett.
Well, you know, when you're building your own cars, and you haven't always done that, you want to be sure before you start building a lot of them that they're good, you know. So you got to go kind of test them and be sure that they're going to do what you expect them to do before you have a whole house full of them. I know Roush made that mistake a couple of years ago. They built all their own stuff in-house, and I think they still do a lot of it. But they went in a direction that the drivers didn't really like.
Watching from Johnny Benson as he battled his teammate Jerry Nadeau, and up front Jeff Gordon holding about 1.9 seconds on Kurt Busch. Now the lap times have dropped off about 1.5 seconds from the start of this race. Steve Burns.
Well, pole sitter Bobby Labonte said his car was neutral, which is pretty good when the race started, but now it's a little bit tight in the center of the corners. But crew chief Michael Fatback McSwain said that's a good thing. We understand where your car is right now. And also, DW, interesting to note, even though he's in a Chevrolet the same as Jeff Gordon, the tape configuration, how they have that tape across the nose is a little bit different on the 18 than the 24.
Well, and I'm not surprised, because I think these Chevrolet teams are still together as a group, and then as a team are going through a learning period on how to tape these cars. But I think that's one reason Bobby Labonte fell back at the start of the race. His car is neutral, and now his lap times are almost mirroring leader Jeff Gordon.
One thing I noticed on Gordon's car, he needs to stay out front, I believe, because they have got that baby taped up almost like they're qualifying.
And when they do that, she will run fast straight away.
Better stay out of traffic.
National coverage, affordable calling plans, and a really fast car. By Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse. Lowe's, improving home improvement. By Napa Auto Parts.
straightaway.
Better stay out of traffic.
National coverage, affordable calling plans, and a really fast car. By Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse. Lowe's, improving home improvement. By Napa Auto Parts. And by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. 32 laps complete in the UAW Daimler Chrysler 400 at Las Vegas. Jeff Gordon has led every lap so far.
And right around the bottom he goes, but right behind him, there's a whole bunch of guys. You see Michael coming off turn 4 back there. I've never seen them run so high through that end of the racetrack so early, Larry. I mean, they're way out there in the really what I'd call the gray stuff, the loose stuff.
They're almost creating a third groove up there. We didn't see a groove that high yesterday in the Busch race.
See, there's Michael again, high, which he likes to run up there like that, but he passed Jimmy Johnson. Seems to be making some pretty good time.
And you know, Darrell, the thing that surprised me a little bit about that, and I'd be a little nervous as I was one of the engine builders, a lot of guys, based on the race pace slowing down yesterday in the Busch race, they were putting low gears in those cars. So the higher you run, the more RPMs you're going to turn too.
Yeah, you get back in the throttle and you carry a lot of exit speed off of the corner down the straightaway. So these engines won't take, they take $9 grand, but they start turning much over that, and you're in no man's land.
Jeff Gordon has put Kenny Wallace a lap down, and now the Derek Cope car falling a lap down to the race leader. Let's go to the leader's pit, Matt Yoakum.
Mike, back on lap 14, Jeff Gordon reported into Robbie Loomis. The car was a little loose on exit. He got back into the gas. About lap 27, he told Robbie Loomis the car had gone to the tight side. Tight side big time in the center of the corner, but especially up off turns 3 and 4. So now what they're doing is talking about what changes they're going to make on that stop. Dale Earnhardt Jr. running in second. You guys are talking about the gear. That's exactly what they're doing. They're throwing away fuel mileage somewhat, going for a little bit different gear selection. To Dick Bergeron.
Car number 97, Kurt Busch. Chassis not quite right on the car. He ran a lot of laps running in second place. He's dropped back to 4th right now. The problem, the car is a little bit tied in, a little bit free off. Busch has called for the specific changes that he wants, as Michael Waltrip has just gone by him. Also, car number 9, Bill Elliott, not feeling well behind the wheel of the car. Uncertain if he could make it all the way today. I just talked to his wife, Cindy. She's not positive, but she says she thinks he's feeling a little bit better in the car now than he was before he got in the car.
Dick, I think the reason he's feeling better, he's got a pretty good race car. He started back in 30th, and he's up to 9th. Just
not well. Even when I've been
Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car, he goes by Kurt Busch in the 97.
Well, I think this is one of the big fears that everybody's had based on Daytona was what were these Chevrolets going to do. Rockingham was a big surprise, but what are they going to do when they get down here to Las Vegas? I think we see what they're going to do.
There's the relative position. Now, one of the enhancements we've added this year to NASCAR on Fox is on that second row, laps to pit. Now, right now it's all the same because the cars are on their first fuel run, but as we have green flag pit stops, some cars will get out of sequence. So if your favorite driver was up to the front when you went to the refrigerator, you come back and he's in the back, you'll see maybe it's because he recently made a stop.
This is a nice shot, and you can see right there that Jimmy Johnson's very comfortable in that race car. Not a lot of effort, not really tugging on that wheel, just really smooth. His car is really working well for him. Well, he's got traffic right there. He had to juke on her a little bit, but it looks very relaxed, very comfortable. Down into the corner he goes, and you're running about 190 miles an hour when he does that.
And I talked to his crew chief, Chad Knaus, this morning. He was a little confused because when they tested out here, their car wanted to push, not turn. They made a bunch of adjustments when they got ready to put in race practice, and he said they've been fighting loose, and they've been undoing all their changes they made based on their test results.
Larry Foyt's gone a lap down. Now Kenny Schrader in the 49 trying to stay on the lead lap ahead of Jeff Gordon. Here's Matt.
Yeah, Mike, on the 48, Jimmy Johnson, he was telling his crew chief, Chad Knaus, he feels like he's built up the right front. He's also got a car which just isn't quite balanced right. He says the car is tight in 1 and 2, but loose, especially when it gets in the gas off turn 4.
Thanks, Matt.
I would say I would agree with that. Based on what I saw with his hands, the car is free because he's not turning the steering wheel a lot, which means that he's kind of nursing it. We can't see his foot, so we don't know if he's wide open or not. But I think based on what we saw with his hands, pretty free, pretty neutral race car he's got.
Jeff Gordon coming up into more traffic. Kyle Petty just ahead. Then Mike Skinner, Dave Blaney, and Mark Martin all in danger of going a lap down to Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon has led all 47 laps so far in Las Vegas. As you look at today's aerial coverage provided by Budweiser. And trouble on Ryan Newman, the 12th place car. We hear that he may have a tire going down.
And he's on pit road right now, Steve Burns.
Larry Mack, he told crew chief Matt Borland just a lap or two ago, he says, help me, I'm really struggling. They had talked about chassis adjustments. They're going to take a ½ pound out of both front tires and put 2 rounds of wedge in the left rear. But then he just came back and said, I have a flat tire. So in he comes, and Matt Borland's crew goes to the attention of that 12 car. Again, they'll change 4 tires, no other adjustments. They do make an adjustment, as we said, to the left rear. 4 tires for Ryan Newman.
And I don't envy Matt Borland's decision that he had to make right there because he's not like a football coach. He can't call timeout. We see Dave Blaney in the 77 car. He was going to make adjustments based on what Ryan was telling him. If they've got a tire going down, that throws all those adjustments out the window. He don't need to make them.
Boy, I tell you what, we're getting ready. We got us a race for the lead here. Here comes Dale Jr. all over the back of Jeff Ford. He's going to dive under him. And Michael is right here, just right behind these guys. That's a great race for the lead. But what I'm really looking at is Mark Martin and a bunch of good cars are just up ahead of these cats getting ready to go a lap down.
Ward Burton's gone a lap down. Mike Skinner, Kenny Schrader, Kyle Petty, and Blaney pitted because he had just gone a lap down.
Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon are riding the bottom down on that white line, but Michael is all the way out. I swear, I think he's touching the wall down here in the middle of 3 and 4.
And Blaney's car won't fire. Now, Booty Barker and crew won the McDonald's Powerade 20 grand last week for spending the least amount of time on pit road. And the fortunes have turned on them this week. Blaney's going to go at least 2 laps down as he now gets off pit road and rejoins the competition. 51 laps complete, no caution flags, and no pit stops among the leaders. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon are setting a pretty blistering pace that has now only 33 of the 43 starters still on the lead lap.
Here comes Mark. He's going to come into pits. He said, I can't take no more of this.
Hey, the timing is right to do that. You're fixing to go a lap down. Go ahead and try to get advantage of those fresh tires.
All right, pal. 1 stall past the start-finish line. Nice and smooth, guys. Make sure you check off the fuel there, Chris. 2 down in the right rear, Will. 10 away from there. 5.
Car's really tight if he's going down on the right rear.
The wheel that they want to put 2 rounds down on is Will Smith. He's the great rear carrier of the tires. Mark Martin has struggled with this race car. I talked to him this morning, and he just didn't seem to know what to do. Asked what was wrong with it. He said everything, absolutely everything. Pit stop, maybe they got some of it fixed.
But Dick, the adjustments they're making, like Darrell said, it indicates that car is pushing, not turning, and that's the same thing they have been fighting in practice. And you know, it's surprising because this group has always had a handle on this racetrack. As we see Michael Waltrip all the way off against the wall, but Bobby Labonte is right there on him in the 18 car.
And right behind them is Jimmy Johnson. And all of these Chevrolets, I think they got a lot of good grip. They got a lot of downforce, and it's going to be a lot easier on their tires than what we're seeing these other guys.
And, you know, the surprising thing, just going back and put a period on Mark Martin, the other 3 Roush cars are running 6th, 7th, and 8th, and he's back there running 35th.
But, you know, I know we talk about equal this and equal that and parity and everything else, but I don't think you can ever manipulate these cars enough from team to team to keep one from being better than the other.
On pit road, Ward Burton, John Andretti, and last week's winner, Dale Jarrett. And Jeremy Mayfield coming in.
And this is a little bit early based on what some of the guys were telling me. Robbie Gordon, and he just about didn't make it.
He was out in the grass, but he got her woed up.
I mean, this is one of the most treacherous entrances to pit road because you enter it right in the middle of turn 4.
And Robbie's pretty good at getting his car. You know, he's a good road racer. He's really good at getting it stopped.
He's a better off-road racer,
Right, yeah.
and he almost was one then getting onto pit road. Remember last year, Sterling Marlin spun getting onto pit road and came back to win.
Jimmy Spencer, Joe Nemechek, Kenny Wallace, they're on pit road. This is the helmet cam on Jackman John Bryant for Dale Jarrett, the 88 car.
He was shaking his head pretty hard there. He must not. The camera was really wobbling.
Jeff Gordon, 24 car, he's on pit road, Matt Yoakum.
Well, Larry Mack, we told you earlier in the race that first he was loose, and then he got tight, and then he progressively got even tighter. They're going to make a wedge adjustment on this stop for Jeff Gordon. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s guys up on the wall waiting for driver 8. He said his car is good. Not really talking about what adjustments to make the Junior's car yet, as their 24 guys are waiting for Jeff Gordon. And Junior's making his entrance as Jeff Gordon finally comes to a stop. Look for, you can see the wrench go in the back window. Steve Letarte, the rear tire carrier, makes the adjustment as they come around. Remember, we told you they're going to make that wedge adjustment, fix that race car. Meanwhile, the Bud guys are waiting for Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Eury Jr., the car chief, up on top of the box this year. Used to change the front tires, now just calling the shots on top of the box so he can call Junior in and also try to focus on what they need to do to that race car during the race, helping Junior manage his race better. That's one thing they want to look at this year. No wrenches in the back window of the race car as they come around to the left side. Kevin Pennell, the Jagman. 1 pump and a half. Car's up. And the stop's complete.
Michael Waltrip takes over the lead and now hands it to Bobby Labonte as Michael makes his appearance on pit road. Sterling's in. Steve?
And Michael Waltrip's got a nice clear shot into his pit because Elliott Sadler has already stopped in behind him and took 4 tires. Michael said, I don't want any adjustments. It's just a little bit tight, but I like it that way. Chris Brumley and Greg Osborne changing the tires. Brian Chase, the Jackman, slams the jack up in 2 pumps. The 15 is up. Good stop for Michael Waltrip.
Bobby Labonte took over the lead, but now he comes to pit road, handing first place to Kurt Busch.
And his teammate Tony Stewart in the 20 car, he's on pit road as well. Kyle Petty, Jamie McMurray, Derek Cope, Matt Kenseth. So 2 of the Roush cars elected to stay out, Kurt Busch in the 97 and Jeff Burton, who's now moved into second place in the 99 car.
Get those 5 bonus points.
Does it surprise you that Kurt Busch is going to run through a full tank of gas? In fact, here he comes now. 60 laps onto pit road, almost a full fuel run.
And his teammate Jeff Burton follows him in the 99.
I think Busch was just trying to stay out and get those 5 bonus points is what he was trying to do because he hadn't led yet.
Dick Bergeron.
Jeff Burton is in his pit right now. He had been in 3rd position, and just before he pitted, he said, I can't hang on to this thing much longer. His car very tight. Kurt Busch is pitting right in front of him. There is space for Burton to get out, however. A camera position between the 2 cars allows that to happen. Busch has called for some radical changes in his car, said that car needs to be a lot faster.
Had a little bit quicker stop than Burton did. He beat him out of the pits there by maybe a second or so.
It looks like when it's all said and done, here's your leader of the race again right here, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Budweiser number 8 car.
Yeah, he'd already chased down and passed Jeff Gordon, so I think that car's really working good.
And right behind him, he's already put Sterling Marlin, last year's winner, a lap down.
60 laps complete, all under green. First round of pit stops now completed. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 5th driver to lead today, is out in front. Gold Pizza. 66 laps complete. Dale Earnhardt Jr. out in front after pit stops. There are a lot of things you can bet on this race here in Vegas. We made one of those things our Singular Wireless Virtual Crew Chief question. You can vote now from your Singular Wireless phone by sending text message FOX to phone number 191, or you can visit foxsports.com to vote online and stay tuned for the results. You can bet on whether Dale Jr. will finish in the top 5 here. You can bet on which mate will win the race. You can bet on which rookie will finish up in front.
I tell you, a problem that Dale Earnhardt Jr. right here in the Budweiser car has is these cars trying to stay on the lead lap. You've got Rusty Wallace right there in front of him in the 2 car. You had Jeremy Mayfield in the 19, and out in front of that group was Sterling Marlin, who drove back by Dale Earnhardt Jr. So he's really having to fight these guys and trying to survive, stay on the lead lap.
Well, here's what happens. They come in, you know, they made adjustments on their pit stops. They've gotten a little bit better. And here comes Michael underneath Jeff Gordon.
On the bottom of the race.
Michael is up here in the high line, but that's what I'm saying. From one set of tires to the next. One set of tires like to run up next to the wall. Maybe this set with a little air pressure adjustment, he goes back to the bottom. That's the thing about this racetrack. You got to be able to move all over it.
But I also think the fact that when you're on fresh tires, you'll tend to want to run the bottom, and as they start to slide and give up, you'll move to the top of the racetrack, get a little better grip up there.
Exactly.
Larry and Darrell, as you know, as we watch this race start to kind of like unfold, you've got to make good strategy and decisions. By watching Kurt Busch and Jimmy Fennig, they elected to stay out a couple extra laps here to try to maybe get in a fuel winner. But right now, what I saw, they gave up almost 2.5 seconds to our race leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. at that time. Ooh, and Earnhardt gets a little bit loose right in the middle of that corner. You've got to be careful not to stay on the racetrack too long on old tires, because they're dropping off almost 1.5 seconds over the course of a run.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can't give up that much to the leader. I know you want to stay out there, and in the perfect world, you stay out your competitor's pit, and you catch a caution, and you put a bunch of good cars a lap down, but sometimes it can bite you. You can be a hero, or you can be a zero.
And nobody, is giving Dale Jr. an easy time of it. Both Jeremy Mayfield and Rusty just fought him really, really hard to try and stay on the lead lap.
But they were so bad that they got themselves in this position. But like I said, when they came to pit road, they got their cars a little bit better. Now they're able to kind of hold him up. I don't think they can hold him up all that long, but they're able to hold him up long enough to maybe if they got a caution, they'd be back on the lead lap.
Darrell, the one thing I want to, talk about probably, and you guys have been talking about this, is the Chevrolets, if they're going to be good, if this new configuration is going to give you a big advantage, it is over the long run. Everybody's usually good on brand new tires. Driver gets up on the wheel, but if your car is balanced and working well, you can afford to let them get out there in front of you, because you know in a matter of 10 laps, you're going to be able to run them down and pass them, and your tires will be better longer than that. And here's one guy that's doing that. I think right now started 26th up to 7th is Joe Nemechek.
Yeah, well, you know it. Like I've told you all the time, you say take care of the tires. If your car handles good, it'll take care of the tires. If you got good grip, good downforce, that's going to make your tires last even longer.
Let's go to Nemechek's pit. Here's Jeannie.
Nemechek, one of 9 Cup drivers that got a lot of track time on Saturday, joining the Busch party. That, of course, includes Mr. Nemechek, who went from 29th to 1st Saturday. He's looking for the weekend sweep. As Jeff just said, 26 to 6. This last pit stop, air pressure adjustments were the call of the order. 1 pound air added to that right rear tire. Joe saying, hey, I'm a little free right now, but I think if we get a long green flag run, it will pay off. Steve?
Well, Jeannie, we reported a while ago Ryan Newman pitted on lap 48 because he thought he had a flat tire. He did not. The car was just handling poorly, and his problems continue. He's now running in the 12th position. He says the car is not good with another car in front of him, and it's also extremely loose. They're already talking about chassis adjustments for their next stop.
Now, the reason Newman is up to 12th is because since his stop, everyone else has had to pit. But now he's off sequence. He's going to have to pit again before the rest of the field.
But what a problem to deal with. I mean, that just will drive you crazy, because what he has a tight aero package. In other words, behind cars, the car don't turn, but the chassis itself is loose. So you really have to struggle to find that compromise to fix both problems. Most cases here today, you're not going to.
When you have an aero problem, the driver can't really diagnose what's wrong with the car. You got the nose up getting in the corner. You tell them it's tight getting in, but in fact, it's because the car's not down in the racetrack.
Ryan Newman, you see, there. He'll have to pit in 40 laps. The rest of the field can go more than 50 laps before their next stop.
Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, he's closed back up on Michael Waltrip. This is a battle for second. You see Jimmy Johnson in the 48, Jeff Gordon's teammate up to fourth, Bobby Labonte in the 18 right behind him.
Now, Larry, I'll pose this question to you, Jeff, Mike, all of you. If we have equal cars, aerodynamically balanced, everything's supposed to be the same for everybody, what do you do now? NASCAR. What if you're NASCAR? What do you do now? You got all these Chevrolets up here. You got 6 in the top 7. We saw a dominance at Daytona. Now we're seeing a dominance here. Everything's supposed to be equal. What do you do now?
I know what I would do, and it won't happen here. It may happen very well next week in Atlanta, when we're right there where the wind tunnel is at Lockheed Marietta. I take me a random select of cars from different manufacturers. I go to the wind tunnel after a race, and I look at the numbers myself.
Good.
Like that answer?
Good plan. I just want to know what you're going to do, because I got to be prepared.
And I want to congratulate Matt Yoakum on the world's longest pit report.
Matt?
Well, Mike, down here in the A pit, a little bit of excitement. Reason being, Ty Norris, who is the team spotter high atop the grandstand, had lost radio communication with Dale Jr. So Tony Urey Jr., the car chief, started spotting from the top of the pit box down here, from off turn 4 all the way down into turns 1 and 2. And they sent someone down to talk to a spotter from another team to go down and kind of shake Ty up a little bit. What happened? Ty had bumped up against the railing and changed the channel on the radio. So he swapped it back. They're back in radio communication. Meanwhile, one other update on the 2 car. They did not get a full load of fuel. They will have to pit sooner than expected, probably around lap 80 to 81.
I mean, this is definitely one racetrack, mile and a half. You do not want to run out of fuel, because Murphy's Law, you won't run out over there in 3 and 4. You'll run out going down the front stretch.
No, but it's not a bad gamble, Larry. I mean, you're trying to stay on the lead lap. You don't want to go a lap down if you can help it. So right now, you do what you got to do to stay on the lead lap. We'll deal with the ramifications of that when we have to.
Yeah, when you get that close to going a lap down, your strategy has to change.
78 laps, caution-free. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads from Michael Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Bobby Labonte, and the hometown favorite, Las Vegas Kurt Busch, is 6th, Dick Berggren.
This morning in the garage area, I asked Jack Roush which of his Fords he thought was most likely to win the race. Jack just shook his head and said he thought it was going to be a Chevy. But we've been listening to Kurt Busch. He's moving forward in the field following that pit stop. And just a moment ago, he keyed the radio and said, "Here's Chevy, 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 here's Chevy."
He's out hunting one. Well, he's hunting 5 of them
I like
in front of
that.
the field.
Got his nose down, his tail up, and he's looking for Chevrolets.
Somebody's going to have to tell him he can't win this race.
Right.
He certainly don't believe it.
Not yet. 80 laps are complete.
Winning at blackjack is easy, Jeff. All you got to do is get 21.
Oh, yeah. Ricky Rudd. I've got Ryan Newman right now. I need a Bill Elliott or a Little Lee. Hit me.
15.
Michael Waltrip. That's not good, is it?
What are you guys talking about?
Welcome back live to Las Vegas, and this is a Visa race break as we come to you from the Hollywood Hotel along with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, and number 8. The number right now is Dale Earnhardt Jr. is leading this 400-mile Winston Cup event. And let's first go over the DEI cars. This is as if they're at Daytona, and Richard Childress Racing right there, taking a look at Waltrip and Gordon, and the difference in the way the noses on the cars are taped up, Jeff, and how that's affecting the race we're watching.
Well, one thing you do when you take the nose, and Larry McReynolds and I both have talked about it, that has a lot to do not only with your cooling, but how you get that downforce on the front. If you look right here, Dale Earnhardt's car is taped horizontally, got a lot of bottom open. Michael's the same way. Going side by side at 2 teammates, but you look back who's in 3rd and 4th, the Hendrick cars, and they've got the center part of that grill open, more of the sides taped off. Very interesting kind of strategy by the Chevrolets, the way things work.
Noses haven't gotten this much attention since Michael Jackson, and Earnhardt Jr. has led every Las Vegas Winston Cup race that he has now run. And let's get more on the DEI cars with Matt Yoakum.
Chris, last week, Dale Jarrett and Brad Parrott could not thank their teammates on the 38, Elliott Sadler and Raymond Fox, enough for their setups, because the 38 team tested Rockingham. That's what DJ used to go to Victory Lane. Here at DEI, right now the cars are running first, second, 23rd. Now, Dale Jr. and Michael Waltrip did not test here. Steve Park, their teammate, did. And this is not the same setup that Park found when they were testing here, but what it did allow was Tony Eury Jr. and Tony Sr. to look at the notes. Knowing what Dale Jr. likes and doesn't like in a race car, they knew how to fine-tune their race car. And basically, over the course of the entire weekend, all they have done, half a turn a wedge. A race for the lead. We go back to Chris.
All right, Jeff Hammond, so let's talk about it. Is this something that could continue as you see the battle here with Waltrip and Earnhardt Jr.?
Yes, it's kind of interesting right now that Michael's taking the high line like he ran yesterday during the Busch race, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. likes to run the low line. Yeah, I believe this is the kind of stuff you're going to have to see and have happen all year long if you're going to learn how to balance the race cars and maximize testing and all the information that comes along. As you can see, so far, it's working pretty well for these guys.
Currently, Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon running 6 and 7, the Roush cars, but Chevrolet has led all but 2 laps. Let's go back upstairs as we see a move being made. Mike?
Michael Waltrip going for the lead. First time he's ever led in Las Vegas in his career. We've got 90 laps complete, all under the green flag. And with one pit stop, only 28 cars still on the lead lap in the UAW Daimler Chrysler 400.
Well, he's running that high line, and that's okay for now. But if you're going to win this race, you better be able to run the bottom before it's over with. The car that wins this race will be sticking to that white line.
Darrell, you're talking about cars that got better, a lot better after that first pit stop, was able to make them adjustments. Sterling Marlin, it wasn't but about 20 laps ago, he was back there and went a lap down. He drove by Dale Earnhardt Jr., and he's now 3 seconds in front of the leader, so they definitely have got that car better, Sterling Marlin, the 40 car.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you got a car that just is no good. It gets, you know, you go a lap down, but you come in the pits and they make that, wave that magic wand over it, go back out there and you say, boy, I don't know what you did, but I'm good to go now.
And the car that's right with Marlin that's just as quick is Steve Park, whose last lap was faster than his DEI teammates, though Park is back in 22nd. He and Marlin trying to climb their way back up through this pack, and everybody having to do it without the benefit of a single caution flag so far.
No, and we've had, you know, we've had some good racing. Michael and Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon, all these guys been up there really kind of trading the lead backs and forth. Kurt Busch looming back there, or lurking back there, as we like to say.
Boy, look at this. This is something that was not able to happen at Las Vegas when we first started coming here 5 or 6 years ago. You could not think about running side by side, getting in the corner.
What you see, Todd, thing jumped out from under me a little bit. He got the wiggling, but recovered nicely.
Hey, see, Rusty Wallace in the 2 car here looks like his car's really coming to life. The reason you heard Matt Yoakum talk about they didn't get the car full of fuel, he had to come back on pit road just about 12 laps ago, so he has a lot fresher tires. Now they are full of fuel.
But it puts both the Penske cars off sequence with the rest of the field as it comes to pit stops.
Jeff Gordon, I've noticed him now. He's been running the bottom this whole time. All of a sudden now he moves up to the top.
Still way too tight, guys, especially going in, like get it into the middle real tight. But maybe get that track bar up a little bit.
Car's real tight. When it's real tight, you can't run the bottom. All you do is just burn the right front tire off of it trying to stay on the bottom. You got to go up top. And what you find out is what you get up there is, hey, this isn't too bad up here. Let's keep it light. Let's don't change anything for a while.
But what he's saying, Darrell, is something we haven't heard a lot this week. His car is actually pushing as he goes to turn in the corner. Robbie Loomis said that he would raise the track bar. That raises the roll center in the back, and that should help free that car going in the corner. Matt Yoakum.
Well, Larry Mack, just like the first run, Jeff Gordon at the beginning of the run radioed in, the car's loose. Then he came back and said the car is really loose. But now, like you heard on the radio transmission, the car has gone to the tight side. That's why he's searching on the racetrack for a line to help get that car around and not lose too much time.
And Ryan Newman, who made a stop early, is back in for his second stop of the day, second green flag stop. Again, he's off sequence with the rest of the field. Michael Waltrip leading in Las Vegas.
Tune it up, tweak it out, run it in the groove. This is for the people giving it the best.
NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on Fox is brought to you by Budweiser. The best things in life are the things that are true. Budweiser. We are under caution at 100 laps. Ricky Craven crashing coming off turn number 4, sliding to a stop in the infield grass. He's gotten going again and will come back to his pit.
Him and Larry Foyt were doing something here. Let's see what happened.
Looked like maybe, I know it went behind that pole, like maybe Craven got in the back of Larry Foyt, turned him sideways, and then he came back down across Ricky Craven.
Okay, so many times here, and it seems like it's here more than any place I know of, guys see somebody coming and they start to get out of their way, and they end up running into each other.
You see all 20, I think we have about 21 cars on the lead lap right now. All of them come to pit road. Dick Berggren.
Kurt Busch is in. The car is not handling as he might like, so they're going to try to pound the rubber in the rear end of the suspension. So fast pit stop, despite that change that they had been talking about. Busch not happy with his car at all. Tighten the corners to see.
Michael Waltrip likes his race car, a minor air pressure adjustment. Let's go to Matt Yocum.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s service already complete. He will be the first car off pit road. Just a slight air pressure adjustment. Junior said the car had gone to the loose side. It was just getting a little tough there at the end of the run.
Boy, the real loser on pit road was a Jeff Gordon, a 24 car. Came in 4th, and it looks like he's one of the last cars to leave pit road.
I see a lot of guys. I think I see a lot of guys down there making chassis adjustments, like spring rubbers and things of that nature, trying to adjust to the track conditions.
And who this caution really benefited was Sterling Marlin, who was just out there in front of that leader. But let me tell you, 2 cars that this caution burned was Rusty Wallace in the 2, who had made a green flag stop, and his teammate, Ryan Newman.
So now, Marlin gets the free pass to come all the way around on the lead lap, as did Ricky Rudd and Steve Park. So we'll show you the race off pit road from our high-speed camera. Earnhardt Jr., no contest. First car out ahead of his teammate, Michael Waltrip, Jimmy Johnson, and Bobby Labonte. We're under the first caution of the day at 101 laps here in Las Vegas. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Working the first caution of the day, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Michael Waltrip, teammates leading this race. Let's have a look at the efficiency of pit stops.
You'll see Dale Earnhardt Jr., they rose to the occasion, came in 2nd, went out 1st, but look at Jeff Gordon right there, came in 4th, went out 10th. Looked like there were some serious chassis adjustments going on that race car. Matt Yocum.
Well, Larry, what actually happened on pit road for Jeff Gordon, Dave Smith, the rear tire changer, had a lug hang inside the socket. He had to take the impact gun and beat it on the ground to get it to release. Right now, Matt Clark and Dave Smith, they were looking over the tape. They did make a track bar adjustment to try to help Jeff Gordon's tight condition. To Jeff Hammond.
Matt, a lot of guys were talking about needing to make serious chassis adjustments. One of these ways that we're going to do this with a spring rubber. And if you will take a look right here at a spring rubber, you can see here's a normal spring right here. And what you do is you put the spring rubber in here like so. And what it does, it actually makes this spring think it's stiff, Chris. And some guys, when they're being so tight in the center, it's not unusual for them to come in, pull the right rear tire off, insert this spring rubber, and it allows the car to turn better in the center of the corner.
Hey, Jeff, tell them how they do the spring rubber where they got it tie wrapped to the spring so they can just flip it in there.
Yeah, a lot of times what they'll do, they'll take this spring rubber, and you say I got a full spring rubber here. They'll cut it in half. They'll take a tie wrap, actually tie wrap it to the spring, just like about like this. The rear tire changer can come in, flip it up, so he doesn't have to carry it around, and it goes right inside the spring, again, making it stiffer, eliminating time as far as exchanging things from one guy to another, as far as if the tire carrier is carrying the spring rubber or having to reach in your belt to take it out. You just take and flip it up in there, makes for a faster pit stop.
How does that affect the car?
What it does, Chris, is when the spring goes down, it makes it stiffer, makes it think it's stiffer. You can start with a softer spring in case racetrack conditions you need it to be changing. You can always do this by putting the rubber in or taking one out.
Yeah, that was one of those things I told Jeff one day. He said they put a half of a spring rubber in the right rear spring. I said, ain't no way, man. They did it too fast. And then he went and checked, and he saw how they were doing it. They were tie wrapping that thing in there and flipping it right into the spring.
We'll go racing back to green next time by. Here's where the Coca-Cola Racing family is running in this race with 6 drivers in the top 10. You know, we talk a lot about what's new in racing. The Monte Carlo body is brand new this year. Chevrolet has 5 drivers in the top 5. Wasn't that long ago, 1997, the Ford Taurus body was all new, and Ford drivers finished this race in positions 1 through 7 and 13 out of the top 14.
Yeah, that car was brand new in '97. They introduced it here. Mark won the race, and it just stirred up a lot of controversy.
Yeah, we were the top finishing Chevrolet with Dale Earnhardt, and we were probably about 30 yards from going a lap down. I remember getting at the back of the NASCAR trailer, and Gary Nelson and the group got down there and said, well, do you want to just all start screaming at once, or if you appointed someone to speak for you? But you know what, guys? We're in Viva Las Vegas. What do you think? Turn that surround sound up, and let's crank it up.
Our Las Vegas style.
See, Ryan Newman in the 12 car we talked about just a few minutes ago, he was 2 laps down. So what he's trying to do is get one of those laps back right here, hopefully catch a caution, but he better catch it in a hurry, but he's not giving up easy.
All right, let's review what happened on those pit stops. Jeannie?
And no one fearing a pit stop more than the 17 of Matt Kenseth. Not just track position, he's worried about losing guys. See, if he takes his foot off the gas, the motor stalls. So far, so good. As for the 25 of Joe Nemechek, he's real happy with the car. Didn't want to make any changes, just 4 tires and fuel. Some chatter on the radio now that he might want to try a higher line since it's becoming a trend.
Ricky Craven driving out of the state of Maine. Well, things are not going well for him. They crashed just a little while ago, brought the car into the pit area to try to work on it. Worked on it a while. NASCAR decided, hold him for a lap. Apparently, NASCAR didn't like the way he picked up the pace car. To Steve.
Dick, Bobby Labonte, our pole sitter, described his car as a little bit free on that last run, so they added air pressure to the left side tires. He came in 5th, went out 4th. Matt Yoko.
Steve, on that last run, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s biggest complaint, the car was loose too long. He felt like it was just holding him up too much, so they made an air pressure adjustment in the right front. A lap and a half ago, Tony Eury Jr. called to his cousin, says, how do you like that now? Jr. says, car feels really good. Tony Jr. said, I knew it would, and there's your leader.
Still a lot of battling right in the mid-pack after the restart. Here are the big movers.
Yep. Man, that 88 car was down on the apron. Just about got into the side of that 20. Ooh, that was tight.
It's a battle for 9th right there with Tony Stewart in the 20, Dale Jarrett in 88, Mark Martin. He's a lap down. Now, this is what getting back. Now, it's going to be interesting to watch Jeff Gordon in the 24. He's been up there running in the top 5. Now he's way back in the pack, so we're going to see what he's able to do because he's back in 15th position.
Yeah, and he's saying, man, I'm in a tight place.
And is all this because everybody's fast on new tires, so you got to go while you can?
They just keep making the cars. The bad cars get better. That's what happens. The good cars don't get any better. They stay about the same. But the bad cars keep getting better and better because they can work on them. Bad meaning, I don't mean they're bad. They're just not handling like the driver wants them to. And every time there's a caution or a pit stop, they're going to make that car better, and it's going to make him more competitive.
And one of the best cars on track is Joe Nemechek. Yesterday's winner. Now in the number 25, he's just passed Michael Waltrip and taken over 3rd place. So Nemechek, who started deep, 26th.
Yeah, he really looked good on that restart, Mike. Oh, there's the car almost out of... Whoa, that was the 29 car.
Kevin Harvick.
Harvick came off a 4. I think he got into the outside wall a little bit and crossed it up. Did a great job of saving that thing. Looked a lot like he did over there. Where was it where he passed down on the apron? Was it Chicago? Last year? Except he wasn't going for the lead this time. He all right?
rear's all squeaked. You gotta let me know how bad it is.
Kurt Busch, Bobby Labonte.
Oh, he's wobbling.
5th place.
18 coming inside.
I think he may have got into the wall here just a few laps
Something
ago.
may have caused Harvick to do what he did. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Ooh.
Yo, brushed it. And there was Harvick right up behind him. That's what happened. All I saw was Harvick come down.
I'll check your damage out for you. Go to the inside. I'll check your damage out for you.
Let's go on board with Harvick. Kurt Busch just ahead.
You know what? You just heard somebody tell Kurt Busch to go to the inside. I'll check the damage out for you. That was Jeff Burton, his teammate in the 99 car, telling him that.
I don't think he hurt the car. He just got the right rear up against the fence. Didn't hurt it, I don't think.
No, you see Burton go right alongside and pass Kurt Busch to check things out.
That's something Roush Racing created there. You see Mark Martin in the 6 car. He's in trouble.
That may be why Mark hadn't been running any better than he has.
Make sure. Is that fatal there, Mark? Yes.
And he might be glad it's fatal.
Yeah, he wasn't running.
Caution is out.
Boy, big break for Kurt Busch, because I think his car's all right, but he'd want to come to pit road and look at it.
Second caution of the day comes out of lap 116. Mark Martin's going to coast around here at less than the speed limit on I-15 here.
Now, they said they put a rubber in the right rear of Kurt Busch's car, and they may be wanting to take that back out because that's a product of too much right rear spring, what happened to him.
But I tell you, that is neat that you're out there racing and your teammate comes on the radio and says, go to the inside of me, I'll look at your damage. That's something Roush Racing created between these drivers where they could talk to each other.
They have that, and Racing Electronics put together a system for Rick Hendrick. Remember when Hendrick's cars ran 1, 2, 3 in the Daytona 500? They had a dual-channel radio system where the drivers could talk to each other or talk to their own crews. Very similar to what Roush has here. It will be of no benefit to Mark Martin, though, whose car goes up in smoke and to the garage.
Now, we've only ran 10 laps, but I still believe we'll see a lot of cars come to pit road, but this may be where we see some right side tires only, just right side.
Jeannie?
Larry Mack, you are a genius. That was the conversation that was going on between Joe Nemechek and his crew chief. What do you think? We only have 15 laps. What do you say, right side only? And Joe said, all right, let's go for it. Let's just not lose any time because the car's running great.
Nemechek's out of his pit before the line is into their pit. Dick?
Kurt Busch slides in, and Jimmy Fennig, the crew chief, has said, work on that right rear. The plan is to try to fix some of the sheet metal damage as much as they possibly can on the right rear corner of the car. To Matt.
Dick, down in the A pit, they're basically using this stop as a test. They're going to do right side tires, only 16 laps on the left side. There's basically a little bit of trouble trying to get around the 24, basically trying to get an idea about what this race car will do as Jeff Gordon comes in and Gordon leaves, is what they will do if later in the race if they have to do a 2-tire change. Also, the pressures in the right front, the same as the last stop.
Working on the damage on Kurt Busch's right rear.
The reason you would take 2 tires right now, other than to get track position, is you only have to put a shot of gas in it. So you don't want to sit there and just, wait. So you might as well just stick 2 on it and go.
I tell you who elected not to stick 2 on, no fuel, no anything, his brother Mikey. Michael Walter, the 15, he stayed out.
What good yesterday in the Busch race for a couple of them.
Sunglasses, something we hadn't had to use here all weekend.
No, right. Getting set for the restart, here's Dick Berggren.
Kurt Busch was back in again, working on damage in the right rear corner of the car. He was the man many picked to win this race. Second in Daytona, second at Rockingham today in a crash. To Matt.
Jeff Gordon had faded back to 16th, now in the 13th position. 2 tires, they backed up a track bar adjustment they made earlier. The car now had gone to the loose side as we're getting ready for green.
Michael Waltrip, Joe Nemechek, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, then the Fords of Matt Kenseth and teammate Jeff Burton. Then Tony Stewart, Dale Jarrett, Jimmy Spencer, and John Andretti, the top 10.
Boy, Kevin Harvick and his teammate, Robbie Gordon, in 31, they were shooting a gap in the middle, but they're on the inside line. You can pass to the right-hand side.
Oh, 4 wide going into turn 1 there.
Tony Stewart's getting a whale of a run off of 2 over there. He was up on the outside, nobody in his way.
And he's another one to jump to the high side here to start finish line. It's like he had his speed built up before anybody else did.
Well, everybody fights for the bottom on the restarts, and, you know, you want to run the bottom, so you go down there and you kind of bottleneck everything up. You can go around the outside and pass a lot of cars. Whoa, here we go.
Give them those fresh tires. They're like a bunch of caged animals let loose.
All right, Steve Burns on why Michael Waltrip did not stop.
Let's find out, Mike, with crew chief Slugger. Labby, talk about your decision not to pit, Slugger.
We only run 10 laps of green flag, and it takes us about 6 laps to get going anyway. So with the air pressure where we're at, we decided to stay out. The tires were just starting to come in, and the lap times were starting to get there. So we decided to stay out and take a chance.
Your driver just took the lead, and you know that everybody on pit road is going to watch you guys.
Well, that's good. Well, hopefully we'll stay out front with the Napa Chevrolet.
All right, good luck. Thanks a lot, Slugger. The 8 car just took the lead.
Kyle Petty, way back there behind these guys. I know you're looking at the lead. Kyle Petty's all the way down on the apron.
Gets pretty wild after these restarts here.
Well, we have so many cars fighting to try to get back up there to get a lap back.
This is a wad of cars right here. I mean, they're all wadded up. And
Kurt Busch is right in the middle of that wad after that long pit stop. Body repair.
He'll be taking no prisoners right now. He's going to be on the move because he's way back there in the back. He wants to get back to the front.
He's back in 19th position right now, and we only have 22 cars on the lead lap.
And you got to get them now. I mean, you know, you say, well, let them spread out a little bit. You can't. You got them all gathered up there in front of you. You got to get all of them you can.
Hey, Sterling Marlin right there in the 40 car. Wasn't that many laps ago? He was a lap down. Now he's in 18th, and he has one of the better cars out on the racetrack right now.
I mean, that's an incredible turn of events right there because that car was dog meat when he started, but, man, they worked on that thing. Got her good now. Him and Glove.
Busch trying to close up on that pack. Move up to McMurray and Blaney on the outside. Blaney a lap down. McMurray on the lead lap, 16th in the 42.
And Lee McCall, I might add. That's his crew chief.
Right.
But the Glove's the team manager, and he kind of helps him with all the decisions, I expect. Whoa, toggle down all the way on the apron underneath the 77 car there.
Steve Park on the inside, muscling John Andretti aside.
And you know what? When I watch the one car, Steve Park, he's like driving. He's got confidence, and I think it comes from finishing 4th yesterday in that Busch race.
Yeah, he needed something. He really has needed something good to happen for him. Yesterday could have been the shot in the arm he needed. Oh,
a lot of smoke in turn 1 after contact. Elliott Sadler.
No.
Tire rub?
I don't know. That looked more like an engine to me.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
If it's a
now,
tire,
this is a break for Ryan Newman. Can he get his lap back? It looks like he will.
Well, there's cars trying to fly up from the back to overhaul Junior with to no avail. Only Ryan Newman gets back on the lead lap.
I was going to tell you, if that was tire rub, it was all 4 of them because that was a lot of smoke.
I thought I saw contact, Darrell, before he started smoking. But apparently not the case.
Now, Darrell, I believe Michael's going to have to come to pit road. He was sliding backwards, and I know he didn't want to see a caution that quick, but I think he's forced to come to pit road now.
Winston Cup cars are just so different than Busch cars. They got a little bit more horsepower. They're harder on the tires. I think when you got a chance to put a couple of tires on that thing, you better take it.
Elliott Sadler has gone to the garage where he'll join Mark Martin. Larry Foyt's car behind the wall being worked on. Let's have a look here. Nope, no contact.
No, she just starts spewing out everywhere.
And Darrell, we've talked about it earlier in the race. They're pulling such low gears. You turn so many RPMs here, and you turn them for such a long period of time. It's not like Martinsville where it just goes up there to 9 grand. You're probably hanging there a good 3 or 4 seconds twice a lap.
Plus, on fresh tires, that's when things like that happen because that's when you get maximum RPM.
I think most of our leaders will stay out except Michael Waltrip, and he's going to stay out. And I just don't. I think he's going to continue to go backwards.
You know, they pulled a deal yesterday. They put left side tires on him at the end of the race yesterday, and I didn't think that was a good call. I'm not down there doing it, but...
Now, some of the cars that was on further back on the lead lap, Johnny Benson, John Andretti, Jamie McMurray, Kurt Busch is back in, Casey Mears, Sterling Marlin, those guys, they really had nothing to lose. Come on in.
And they were all battling hard. Joining them, Ward Burton, Bill Elliott, and Ricky Craven, who's several laps down.
Kurt Busch is going to work on his car a little wee bit more. There's Bill.
So pit stops among cars further back on the lead lap. Over 120,000 fans here in Las Vegas. A sellout crowd for race 3 of the Winston Cup season.
Las Vegas, lap 129. Dale Earnhardt Jr., your leader, and this is a Visa race break. Let's bring you up to date as Dale Earnhardt Jr. here passing early. Jeff Gordon had led from the very beginning till Little League took the lead, and then DEI's Michael Waltrip breaking through.
Yeah, Michael running here on the high side. He takes the lead up there, and Little League continues to run down low.
First 100 laps are caution-free, and then a few miscues. Larry Floyd, hang on. Ricky Craven, a little spin, bringing out one of the cautions. And a former winner here, Mark Martin, a part of the Roush Racing team that has had some success, engine problems, and out of the race for the moment. And then also Elliott Sadler, Robert Yates with some problems as well, bailing for the moment. And Jeff, what should we look for here in these laps heading from here?
Well, right now, Chris, I'm starting to see a little bit of pit strategy come into play, because we're getting real close to where if a guy decided to make just one more stop, he can just about go all the way.
And DEI hasn't given up the lead since lap 61. Let's go back upstairs.
Well, this will be an interesting restart, because the front 15 did not take on tires on this caution. Back where Kurt Busch is with Johnny Benson and Bill Elliott, those cars from there on back on the lead lap did take on tires.
I think that could pay off later. If this thing goes to green for a while, that could be big.
Rusty Wallace in the 2-car. He's up there trying to get his lap back, as well as Ricky Rudd. Dale Earnhardt Jr. almost snookered Rusty. Took off, slowed down, then Rusty had to slow down.
The guy that's up there trying to get a lap back is that 29 car. He's had some great restarts the last couple of times.
They are not bashful about being 3 and even 4 abreast.
In fact, right now, all 4 cars behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. are cars that's up there trying to get the lap back. Rusty Wallace, Kevin Harvick, Terry Labonte, and Ricky Rudd in the 21. All a lap down.
Well, they're going to have, if they just look behind them, and I know they probably have, they got a great opportunity, because these guys are all over each other. Just one little slip. Drive it off in the corner a little too hard on the inside of somebody. Get a little arrow loose like that right there, and around they go.
Dale Jarrett, 88, hard outside wall.
Caution, let's see who can get a lap back from Earnhardt Jr.
He's going to let them all. He's going to let every one of them have their lap back.
There goes Rusty, the 2-car.
I think he's trying to actually give the 29 his lap back, and Rusty slipped in there and got one too.
And Terry Labonte in the 5 is going to get his back.
Ricky Rudd.
Yes.
And that's it. Robbie Gordon comes up a bit short. But Dale Jarrett, last week a winner, and this week headed home early.
Yeah, it's just when they're that close together, and you're on the outside and somebody's down under you, a little bit of air off of your spoiler, and into the wall you go.
That shows you how hard that car hit the outside wall. That's one of his rear springs laying at the bottom of the racetrack.
These cars they never look like they're carrying the kind of speed they are.
All right, let's have a look at Steve Park and Dale Jarrett right there on the right side of your screen. Park held up by Kenny Wallace there.
Steve Park's car just bobbled a little wee bit, and then Dale was right out there beside of him, and he just slid right into the car and knocked him loose. That little wiggle of the car, it's air. That's all air right there. He's just in it. See, he's got a car in front of him. He's got Jarrett on the outside of him, and the car just goes free. And when it does, it bobbles, and you try to correct it, and you shoot into the guy beside you.
Here's a different angle.
This is when you're in a situation like this, cars all around you, cars sometimes are very, very unpredictable. And that doesn't look like it's a very hard lick, but look what it did to that race car.
Jeannie?
Well, in Kevin Harvick's attempt to get that lap back, he made a little contact with the 25 car of Joe Nemechek. He left a tire mark on the door. That's about it. But the 25 car decided to come in and get 4 tires. Dick?
Came in for 2 tires on the right side. They are having fuel pressure problems, particularly on the restarts. It's a problem that they had when they arrived here at the racetrack. Thought they had it fixed. They don't. Steve.
Well, Michael Waltrip's glad they're pitting now. He wasn't completely in agreement with the call not to pit on 115, but 4 tires for Michael Waltrip to Matt Yoakum.
A wedge adjustment already completed on Jeff Gordon Chevrolet. Left side tires going on, and he's good to go.
I'd like you to note that I said that I thought that was not a good call, and Michael and I must have agreed, and that is the first time in his 39 years I think we've agreed on anything.
Dale Jarrett out of his car. He is okay, but he's waiting on the protagonist. And now going to have a walk down to the track apron and hop aboard the ambulance for the ride to the care center. He and Steve Park got together in turn 2, and Jarrett, last week's winner, is out of this race.
Bad day for Robert Yates Racing. Dale Jarrett wrecks just a few laps ago. Elliott Sadler in the 38, his teammate, blows up. Short day for both those teams.
Yeah, he was just, I think, didn't he say number one? I thought he was pointing at number one.
Here's another look at it. Now watch Kenny Wallace on the left. That kind of holds up Park and tries to get outside behind Jarrett. Not quite enough room. From Bill Elliott. .134 laps complete. We're under caution in the UAW Daimler Chrysler 400. Laps complete. We're under caution. The fourth one of the day for Steve Park and Dale Jarrett in crashing in turn number 2.
Well, let's set the stage of our cars in these cautions that's come within 5 laps of each other. We have 23 cars on the lead lap. About half pitted on lap 126 when that first caution came out. The other half pitted on lap 131. But 3 cars that have elected not to pit neither time is Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car, Matt Kenseth in the 17, and Todd Bodine in the 54 car. Matt Yoakum, what's going on with Dale Earnhardt Jr.? No pitting.
Well, we're going to talk to Tony Uri Sr., the crew chief. Tony, stayed out again. Why?
Well, we're still like 7 laps short of being able to cut a stop off, so it really wasn't going to benefit us. Car's working real good. We put 2 on the last time there, and it's only been a few laps, so I think we only got like 8 green flag laps on them, so really wasn't going to benefit us to stop. Track position so important here. We're trying to keep that car up front, keep that air on the nose, so we don't get that old aero push. But Budweiser Chevy's running good today. We got to keep it up front, and we're just trying to make the best calls here and keep it up front, and hopefully we win this race today.
Clear racetrack where they're sitting right now. To Jeannie's Alaska.
Well, they may be pit neighbors, but right now there's no love lost between Joe Nemechek and Kevin Harvick as the 29 rushed to get the lead back. Nemechek felt he was bum rushed. Quote, someone needs to have a talk with him. That was crazy. He's got to be smarter than that. Matt Kenseth feeling kind of dumb right now. Some confusion as to whether or not he was supposed to pit. He did not come in, and his crew chief wanted him to get 2 right side tires. He's very sorry. Let's see if he pays the price.
The first 8 cars did not pit, and now it's 1 Chevy Junior, 3 Fords, and 4 Dodges in the first 8 spots.
Here we go. Tony Uri talked about track position, but also the safest places up front. Dale Jarrett's living proof of that.
Bill Elliott, nice move on the outside of Kurt Busch.
Yeah, Kurt didn't get going and really hurt himself. I don't know if Bill's going to be able to make the pass around him or not. Tight back in there, guys. Tight.
Robbie Gordon in the 31 car. He's on the inside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's up there trying to get his lap back now, as well as Tony Raines in the white car, the 74.
As this race goes along, it just... Uh-oh, the 20 car is smoking back in there. I don't know if he got into somebody or low air pressure. Could be a low air pressure issue.
It looks like possibly some tire smoke.
Yeah, it is. I think he's gotten into somebody and knocked that fender back.
You see the left front fender knocked in at the front.
He bumped somebody and got that fender back in there.
Steve?
And you guys are exactly right. Tony is reporting a left front tire rub. Left front tire rub on the 20.
Now, Darrell, how long can you stay out with them?
As long as they get until they give you the black flag, and that won't be very long. So,
Jeff Gordon trying to climb back up through after a gas and go stop. He's in 22nd place right now, Matt.
He pitted 3 times under that caution, Mike. The second time he came back in under NASCAR's call, they had to cut away the loose side skirting on the left side. And then after they'd already lost all that track position, right before we went back to green, they came back in again just to top off for fuel.
Now, if you remember back to last week, Dale Jr. bumped his left front fender in on his left front tire. He ran a lot of laps, but it finally did cut it down, depending on what piece of metal is rubbing on that tire as to whether it'll cut the tire down or not.
And yeah, I tell you, with that left front corner, with that hole in it, regardless of the fender rubbing, that car's not going to drive as good as it was driving.
But I'm sure he'd just as soon to sit out there and let it smoke a little bit than he would to come to pit road.
Sure, because that would cost him a lap.
Oh, yeah.
Dale Jr. way out in front of Matt Kenseth now, who battles 1 lap down Robbie Gordon. Todd Bodine up to third, and Bill Elliott on the move. He and Sterling Marlin now fourth and fifth.
I mean, Sterling Marlin in the 40 car, he has amazed me. I mean, it was less than 100 laps ago that he was a lap down, and here he is in the top 5. A little bit of strategy on that group's part. Lee McCall, Tony Glover pitting and then staying out.
Jimmy Johnson down below the line. Now no out of bounds here in Vegas. Good thing.
The out of bounds here is green.
Yes, yeah, and it has roots.
That's right.
Right.
But I tell you, there's another car right in front of him. Give a call to that crew right there. 97 of Kurt Busch. He's been to pit road fixing and repairing the car, and now he just went by Bill Elliott for fifth.
Yeah, he's been really fortunate. Ever since he had that damage, we've had a couple of really quick cautions that have given him an opportunity to work on it, and there he is right back in the hunt.
Todd Bodine, the National Guard 54, has caught Matt Kenseth for second place.
Well, as we said early in the show, this is the only place last year that Todd had. He won the pole here, and he had a top 5 finish. And they've got a pretty good setup for this joint, looks like.
Now, Robbie Gordon, the 31, is a lap down, but trying to stay within sight of Dale Jr. should a caution come out.
Of course, Todd's won here before in the Busch Series, so he likes this racetrack. He ran well yesterday. Had some problems, but he was up there fighting for the lead, and had it called when the rain came the first time, he would have been the winner.
Aerial coverage today provided by Budweiser. As you look over more than 120,000 fans, and a close race here, but for the leader, Dale Jr. has stepped out to a 2.5-second advantage, while second place Kenseth and Bodine are nose to tail.
Yeah, and while they're battling each other, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 8 car, he's just getting smaller and smaller out there. He's just driving away because he is right now 3 to 4 tenths a second of quicker each lap.
Well, on the previous caution, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was talking to his car chief and cousin Tony Jr., and he said, hey, did you see all that 3 and 4 wide racing going on a little earlier? And they said, yeah. He goes, did you see me just making those great rocking moves back on the backstretch? And they said, yeah. He said, it looked kind of like the old black number 3 sitting here for a minute, didn't it? I bet that's what you all thought. And he said, yeah, it was pretty wild. He goes, man, because I've seen him do that stuff 100 times. But one thing he did also say is that his race car works so well on the bottom. He thinks he's one of the only, or one of the few cars that can work so well on the bottom. And he's remembering that for later in the race. Already thinking ahead later in the stages what he may or may not want to do.
It's going to be a while before he sees another car.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing about it, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's one of the few cars that I've not seen go to the top.
He's been working that bottom. He gets a little twitch up off the corner every now and then. A little bit worried about that. That could get worse.
Darrell, let's have a look at
man. There was a pass. The 19 and the 40 were really kind of racing each other. Jimmy Johnson took advantage of it.
Fight for fourth place here.
Of course, the 19's a lap down, and I think
outside, bud, outside.
Yeah, Jeremy Mayfield, he is 1 lap down back in 26.
I think he and Sterling were talking it over.
All around. That's an awesome job, Jimmy.
It's the one thing I hear that team do more than any other team is encourage Jimmy Johnson. Talk to him all the time. Tell him what a great job he's doing 30 car on pit road.
All right, Darrell, let's have a look at how Tony Stewart got his fender pushed in. Let's have a look.
Well, here he is. He got a great restart there early on. Went to the outside. Probably he's going to make some contact back in there. Right there with the 30 car.
Yes,
See, he had such a run on the outside. There wasn't quite enough room to squeeze in there going into turn 3.
And Jeff Green has come to pit road. You can see the damage on the right rear that they're working on. They loosened up that quarter panel with contact from Tony Stewart.
Well, these, you know, the parts of the body that are, you know, it's just sheet metal. It's pretty lightweight stuff. So it doesn't take a whole lot to crumple it up.
You know, Jeff Green was still on the lead lap, and he should be able to stay on the lead lap. He's leaving pit road right now in the middle of the backstretch. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the leader, is in the middle of 1 and 2.
Is crumple a word?
It is now.
Crumple.
Sure.
It's a racing word.
Boogity used to not be a word.
Let's ask Dr. Berggren.
Well, yeah, it's probably a good word, but the good word from car 54, Todd Bodine, is, quote, the car is running great. We've heard all day from different drivers complaining about one thing or another, not with Todd Bodine. To Matt. Steve.
Well, Dick, Tony Stewart just radioed in to Greg Zipadelli, the crew chief, and said this car is really tight. And Zippy said, well, I'm not surprised. You don't have any more left front fender, and he wasn't real happy about it.
The driver wants to scream at the old crew chief because the car won't turn. He done beat the left front fender off of it. What you got to say for yourself?
I'm thinking. I'll get back to you on that.
All right.
People keep getting in my way.
Bill Elliott battling Jamie McMurray. 7th place is at stake here.
Jamie's doing a nice job again today, and of course his teammate Sterling's up there. He's doing a whale of a job. He just 5th place. Jamie's an ace, so they've got it going pretty good.
And Elliott, who's been sick with the flu most of the weekend, is up to 7. Let's pick up the man who has had the most success here, and that's Jeff Burton. He was battling in a huge knot of cars that included Johnny Benson, Bobby Labonte, Michael Waltrip, John Andretti. And now Burton makes the move.
There you see on the Fox tracks, he's about 11 seconds behind the leader right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, and there's no question yesterday, Mike, Larry, he had the car to beat in the Busch race. Had some freak thing happen, an oil line or a power steering line.
Had an oil line come apart underneath the car under caution.
Under caution. It was strange. I never seen anything like that.
Well, he's up to 11th place, fishing for the top 10. As you watch from Johnny Benson's Pontiac.
And I think the thing that I think is big here is as cars come and go, up front a while, then they kind of float back through the field, you got to know what this racetrack's going to do halfway through this race. And that's where that experience really pays off, and that knowledge of that crew chief.
And we're getting more and more to the point where you may only get 1, maybe 2 more times to adjust that race car.
Dale Jr. with a 2.7-second lead. There's our leader. And there's 2nd place, Matt Kenseth, the winningest driver on the Winston Cup Tour last season. 153 laps complete in Las Vegas. Complete in Las Vegas. If you want your NASCAR coverage to last all week, make sure your cable system carries Speed Channel, home of NASCAR TV. Call your local cable or satellite provider, or call toll-free 1-888-22-SPEED.
The need for speed.
Well, Larry, I got to ask you now. There's a Chevrolet leading. There's a Ford running 2nd. There's a Dodge running 5th. There's a Ford running 6th. Then there's a whole bunch of Dodges. What happened to all those Chevrolets?
Well, I think a little bit of strategy, a little bit of staying out, and then, of course, some of our stronger Chevrolets have had a problem, fell back in the field a little bit, Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon. But Jeff Gordon is definitely making his way back to the front. Problem is, he's a half a lap down.
And he's got a lot of traffic to deal with, Larry, since that last restart. Gordon restarted 22nd.
I can't tell you how many times last year with Jeff Gordon, he would be real good, they'd do something in the pits, and he'd be real bad. Then he'd get real good again. He's never seemed to be able to get his car consistently good. He was always up and down. You'd hear him after the race. Well, we were good at one point, then we got off. They don't seem to be able to adjust that car to keep it good.
Makes it suspenseful. Let's show you what's happened to him since that last restart. A long, slow climb up to 16th place, where he is right now, half a second back of Steve Park.
And the deeper the race goes, the harder it is to make that climb, because not only you're dealing with competitors on the lead lap, you're dealing with those cars that are a lap down.
And there's the gap to the leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and that is almost half a lap.
You know, he said something interesting to me earlier this year. I was talking to Jeff Gordon, I'm talking about. He said the way you race now is every lap's like qualifying. He said, you know, there's not any point in the race anymore where you just kind of ride or take it easy. It's like these young guys have brought everything up another notch, and you got to be up on the wheel from the time they drop the green till they drop the trigger.
Another fellow who's having quite a day, Darrell. I called him a throwback the other day in the best sense of the word, and that's Jimmy Spencer. Spencer's up to 9th place, and since the last restart, you saw Jeff Gordon had gained 6 spots. Well, Spencer in the number 7 has gone from 17th to 9th. That's a gain of 8.
And we talked earlier, he's just always ran well here, and I flew out here with Jimmy Spencer.
Doing a good job now. Good job.
There's those words of encouragement. Good job of getting late in the race. But Jimmy just feels good about this race team. He feels good about Tommy Baldwin now as crew chief. He feels good about the engine program with Mike Eggy engines. You can just see a little bounce in his step about this whole program.
And his car owner, Jim Smith, will spare nothing to try to make that into a winning team.
Yeah, and they've got the resources to do it. I mean, with Tommy Baldwin there, and Tommy brought a bunch of people from the 22 car, they've got the people, they've got the resources. That team could be really strong before the year's over with.
And there you see, he's quicker than the leader right now, and he's out there in clean air, clean traffic, but he's quicker than the leader.
Now, I said he was a throwback in a conversation about Spencer being the last Winston Cup driver to still wear an open-face helmet.
Yeah, that's probably the only guy I know of in Major League Racing that has not switched over to the full-face helmet.
Jeff Hammond on our third-place car, Jimmy Johnson.
Guys, I've been watching Jimmy Johnson. He is extremely quick right now. He is actually faster than the leader the last few laps. I was in the garage area just prior to the drivers' meeting, which is just a couple hours before race time with crew chief Chad Knaus, and they were one of the last cars through inspection. Chad was really worried about...
Trouble in turn 4, Jeff. Jamie McMurray is around. Big cloud of smoke.
Caution is out.
Keep her down the bottom there, buddy.
No contact.
Keep it running. Come on.
But half the field about stacks up in the
They
cloud
can't
of
see
smoke.
him. You can't even see the, we can't see him come through the smoke. McMurray's already gone. These other guys back here don't know what the heck's going on.
Did the leader get the caution?
I think he is just now coming to the caution for the first time.
And one car moving very slowly. That's Schrader. And here comes Junior.
Here comes Ryan Newman trying to get that second lap back. Is he going to do it? Is he going to do it?
Oh,
no.
man, almost. I think he missed it by about a foot.
But turn 4, the smoke from Jamie McMurray's spin completely covered up turn 4. Now here's Newman.
Boy, that was... Yikes, not quite.
Not quite. Close, but not.
Nice try. Let's see if we can look down here and see exactly what happened. There's Jamie. He's up behind Spence.
Jimmy just went by Jamie for position.
Oh, he just got down low. You get down there like that. We saw Todd Bodine do that yesterday in the Busch race. You're in the gas. Your car's a little snug. All of a sudden, the back end snaps out.
Dick Berggren.
Last week's winner, Dale Jarrett. This week, crash into the wall. What happened out there?
Got hit. Not much else you can say. I was trying to give people plenty of room. Car was pretty good, and just trying to get ourselves to the point of being able to see what we could do at the end.
It's a pretty heavy disappointment on this man's face, Mike.
Yes, it is.
Now, this pretty much throws the strategy out the window. There you see Steve parking in one car, getting in the left rear of Dale Jarrett, sitting into the outside wall, what Dale Jarrett's talking about. But this pretty much throws the strategy out the window because all the cars on the lead lap are to pit road. This should be 4 tires, Jeannie.
And you're a genius again. I get to say that twice in one day. 4 tires. They're also dropping the track bar a half a turn on the 17 of Matt Kenseth. That is what he ordered, Steve.
4 tires for Todd Bodine. They're going to go down on the air pressure a little bit to make the adjustment. Brian Bass and Tony Tolley are the tire changers. Let's go to Matt.
No adjustments on Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet. He said basically he was just chilling out. He would have worked a lot harder if they'd gotten closer to him. He also liked the 2-tire scenario earlier in the race.
Jeff Gordon got off pit road pretty quickly.
But I'm going to tell you who else got off pit road quick. Matt Kenseth in that 17 car. So much been said. They lost a lot of crew members after last year, 2-time world champions, and they're still responding on pit road.
And here are the cars coming off pit road. Gordon, Kenseth, the first 2.
And Larry made another good point about the opening, the pit stall that he has. He's got a car in behind him at the lap down. He's got an opening in the front, so he's getting in and out in a hurry.
Yeah, he gets his work done and out of his pit box before a lot of the cars at the other end of pit road even get to their stall.
Little damage on Jamie McMurray's car. Jeff?
Big loser on that pit road exchange right there was 3rd place Todd Bodine. Right now, he came in on 3rd, but I think when he gets off of pit road, he's going to wind up back there probably about 10th or 11th.
And Tony Stewart with a long stop as you look at Bodine, trying to tape up what's left of the left front fender on Stewart's car. Jeff Gordon came out first, and he's going to lead this field down to the restart. Gordon, who led the first 50 or so laps of this race.
How he did that, elected to do 2 right side tires only, but that puts him on left side that has about 30 laps on him, as we have about 98 laps to go.
Well, he needed track position. His car doesn't work back there in traffic.
Matt Kenseth second, Earnhardt Jr. third, Jimmy Johnson.
I think you'll see when he gets out front in clean air. And last year they fought this same thing with that car all the time.
But I tell you who this could favor, Ryan Newman in the 12 car, who has 4 fresh tires up there trying so hard to get the second lap back of going 2 down earlier.
3 wide right behind them. Mike Skinner down on the bottom with Mayfield and Bill Elliott and Jimmy Johnson now.
Boy, Jimmy Johnson way up on the outside around the 19 car. Power move, big power move on the outside.
Had to go that high, Darrell. It was the only lane left.
It was.
And just out in front of those leaders right there is Jamie McMurray, who was back on pit road, and they gave the 1 to go. He's still on the lead lap, but he's only about 2 to 3 seconds of going a lap down in the 42.
And I got to tell you, I believe that 48 car is the best car out there. And Tony Stewart is in the wall. Did he hit the wall? I couldn't tell.
For the lead, Matt Kenseth. Underneath, Jeff Gordon.
Tony Stewart was way up out of the groove, all the way against the wall. I don't know if he hit it or not. Got mighty close.
I tell you, Darrell, this late in the race, this track pretty slick, pretty greasy. I'm not sure about left side tires with 30 laps on them as he loses another position to Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 8.
I think he's got a car smoking down here in turn 1.
Derek Cope, Friendly's Restaurant Chevy.
Now, I would think that would possibly bring out a caution with all that smoke.
And boy, that'd be a big break for Ryan Newman. He needs that caution big time. As Jamie McMurray, he goes a lap down. He's in trouble in the 42.
Probably nobody'd like to see that a caution more than Jeff Gordon, but we are staying green. And Cope stays out on the racetrack.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon has lost 3 positions in 2 laps, and he continues to backslide as Sterling Marlin in the 40 moves up to his left rear.
I just haven't seen anybody do 2 tires today and make it work.
Car way down on the inside, Jamie McMurray slowing off the pace. He will come to pit road. Let's go to the pit of the 3rd place car, Jimmy Johnson.
And Chad Knaus, DW's voted your car looks to be the best car at the moment. You've been working on it all day. Is it where it needs to be?
Yeah, I think handling-wise, the car's pretty decent. I think with 2 tires, the car was about perfect. We just put 4 tires on it. It might be a little bit free here at the beginning. We'll have to get some laps on it and see what we've got. You know, I'd like to be leading, but right now where we're at, we're pretty happy with it. You know, I'd like to take a second and say hello to Rick and John. They're back in Charlotte. Wish they could be here to see this. Hopefully we'll get one of these Hendrick Motorsports cars in Victory Lane today. You know, it's going to be a good day, I think.
To Steve.
Well, Jamie McMurray has more problems, Matt. This is his right rear tire. This is an inner liner, a tire within a tire. This is the outer part of the tire. It came off and wrapped itself around the rear end housing of the 42.
Guys, turn 2,
big. We have trouble on the racetrack.
Rusty Wallace, Jeff Gordon in the 24 car.
Bunch of cars, more cars.
Mike Skinner.
They can't. Nobody can see. There's so much smoke they can't see where to go.
Now, Ryan Newman in the 12, he will get this lap back, so he'll be back on the lead lap with a lot of the lead lap cars over there cracked.
Oh, they're all wadded up over there. There's cars everywhere.
Mostly Mike Skinner, Rusty Wallace, and Jeff Gordon.
I tell you,
Larry Foyt is also involved.
That was Jeff Gordon.
Is that Kurt Busch down against the apron in turn 2? It is.
That was Jeff Gordon's radio. He was telling his crew, look, it just wasn't our day. It just wasn't meant to be.
I had him in the pool.
I had the 97.
Matt?
And Mike, right before Jeff Gordon said it just wasn't our day, he said, I'm going to take it back to the garage, boys. It looks pretty bad.
Yeah, I think all of them are headed for the garage. The 4 cars involved. Jeff Gordon, Kurt Busch, Mike Skinner, and Larry Foyt. Skinner's car might make it back to the garage.
Kurt Busch going to make it around, but he's got a lot of damage, and Skinner's car is just wadded up.
Well, Busch is going to stay out. They're going to try to fix it for the Las Vegas driver. And
I think Rusty he got the blunt of that. He went hard in that outside retaining wall. He's out of the car. You can see him standing there. He's okay. There goes Kurt to the garage.
So 5 cars involved. Let's have a look here in turn 2.
I think that yellow car on the inside gets in. Yeah, it gets up into Rusty.
That's Mike Skinner in the 4.
And here comes Gordon. He's in the smoke. He has no idea where anybody is. And he gets into the Skinner's car.
You know, Darrell, that's right there in turn 2. We've seen that a lot. That's what happened with Dale Jarrett and Steve Park, it's like the car in the bottom just can't stick there and gets into the car up above it.
Larry, when you enter turn one here, you can just really stay in the throttle and carry a lot of speed down into that corner. But right in the center, when the car needs to rotate, if it doesn't cut for you, it slides up a little bit. Here comes Gordo. He can't see. There's so much smoke right there, you can't even see his car. He has no idea where anybody is.
We couldn't see it, so you know he couldn't see out of that smoke.
And you know his spotter Ron Thiel couldn't see it either. Let's ride with Robbie Gordon.
When you make it, you say, I'm getting out of here.
As quick as I can.
Third gear, I'm out of here.
With Bill Elliott.
Now watch, he goes into this cloud right here. Just wondering where everybody went. The spotter's probably telling him right now.
He almost completely stopped. In fact, he did stop for a second.
Well, I bet that's my spotters always say, I can't see. Stop now.
And the only thing that could happen there is somebody hit you in the back possibly. But you got to take your chances.
More probably than possibly. But Elliott snuck through there. We'll get a damage report when we come back. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Mike Skinner gets into Rusty Wallace and touches off a multiple car crash. Heavy damage to Jeff Gordon and Kurt Busch. Todd Bodine, Larry Foyt also involved. Jimmy Spencer.
A lot of these cars back here, Mike, what they got is got run into when they couldn't see where they're going. They got run into, kind of like we were talking about Bill Elliott. You got to slow down, but hope you don't get run into by someone.
Little left front damage to Todd Bodine as well. Most of the cars in that wreck have gone to the garage.
Now, pit road is open. I think we're going to see a lot of our leaders stay out. It's not been that long since they were on pit road, and everybody's got to make one more stop. And right now I'm seeing pretty much everybody at the front staying out. But here comes Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick, some of those guys pitting.
Jeff Burton, the winningest driver here, in and back into Kurt Busch's garage. Jeff Hammond.
Mike, one of the things that's going on right now in the garage area on Kurt Busch's car, for example, is the radiator. He's got busted the radiator right now. The team will come in. They will take and loosen up some sit screws up here in the front. They'll turn it, pull this radiator out. Probably have to replace the bottom radiator hose. It looked like it was damaged also. And hopefully, this damage will only be in the radiator area, not be involved as far as the steering box. I noticed the radiator was really close to the steering box. Again, this is one of those areas when you get hit in the front end that hard, as you can see by our Ford Cutaway car, there's a lot of roll bars as far as the front bumper is concerned, a lot of oil lines. Again, you got to worry about that steering box. If everything gets drove back into it, it could really be a problem for a driver and a crew to make the repairs. Steve?
Tony Stewart's in, Jeff. They put on 4 tires. They're trying to pull that left front fender out. Remember, he made contact with a 30 car. Tony's still sitting. They have not put the left front tire on. Now it goes on. They've got that front fender free and clear. Trying to make sure there's clearance. They're going to let the jack drop slowly to make sure the weight settles. There's no rub. They're checking that valence, and now he's going to head out onto the racetrack.
There wasn't a lot of upper fender left there to tape to.
It looks much better now than it did.
Boy, speaking of not a lot of left front fender.
This thing here doesn't look good at all.
Jimmy Fennig is the man with a hammer.
And you know, this group here, this has to be discouraging. I mean, leading the points, and in the last 7 races, 2 this year and the 5 at the end of last year, every finish has been 6th or better, but that won't happen today.
Yeah, and it's no fault of their own making, you know. They just were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
That'll take them out of the running for the McDonald's drive-through championship, fueled by Powerade, Michael Waltrip and Dave Blaney. The 2 teams that have spent the least amount of time on pit road in the first 2 races, each picking up the $20,000 bonus.
Yeah, I don't believe this would be a very good time to offer him a cheeseburger.
You know, this is 2 weeks in a row. Tony Stewart has had fender damage, had it at Rockingham, had it again. They didn't get it fixed as good at Rockingham as they did today.
Official delivery company of NASCAR. We want to race the truck. People love the truck. Dale Jarrett's UPS car is parked after a bout with the wall after contact from Steve Park, and on the restart, Matt Kenseth to the front on Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jimmy Johnson. Here comes Robbie Gordon trying to get a lap back. It's a land rush into turn 3.
I mean, again, we talked about it earlier. You give these guys a chance to bunch catch back up, especially those cars like Robbie Gordon who we're riding with here, a chance to maybe get that lap back, they go crazy.
All right, this time the caution was out for a crash that began when Mike Skinner got into Rusty Wallace. Here's Dick Berggren.
And Rusty Wallace has returned from the care center. How are you?
I'm fine. Everything's good. It's just it's a shame. We started the race off in a bad way. Car was real tight, and we got it better. But then on that last pit stop, the pit stop before, we didn't get enough gas in. I only got 6 gallons of gas, and I lost a lap. So struggling, trying to get it back. We got one on back. At that point, we're only one down. It had a pretty doggone good car. I really think the car was a good, solid top 5 the way it was running. And I passed the 4 car on the outside going into 1, and I think he just pushed up accidentally, got into my left rear quarter panel, and a big wreck, and that was it. He didn't mean it. Just one of those racing things, but boy, I tell you what, I hit hard. Hit real hard.
Hit hard enough he broke his helmet, Mike.
Wow. Good that Rusty is okay. Kurt Busch's car is in the garage. Jeff Gordon's, all as a result of that crash. 4 other cars were involved. So we've restarted here, and Matt Kenseth, the winningest driver in Winston Cup in 2002, up front and off to the races.
Yeah, him and his old buddy Matt there, they used to racing each other. They had a really good go of it in the Busch Series a couple years ago, and they're good friends, and they'll take care of each other.
Kenseth and Earnhardt Jr. battled each other for Rookie of the Year honors in Winston Cup. Kenseth got the nod.
I still like that 48 car. I think he's looking pretty racy.
We have 20 cars on the lead lap, and even though everybody will still have to make one stop, it's almost like 11th through 20th when that caution came out. They did come to pit road. The top 10 stayed out.
Of course, every time I say that, I look in my mirror and I see that 40 car coming too, and we know he knows how to win here.
Sterling Marlin, who was spin to win here last year, and I'm not talking about roulette. He spun coming onto pit road
with assistance.
Yeah, well, he had help, yes, but recovered and came back to win this race 1 year ago.
It was controversial, if you remember. He got spun about halfway. He didn't spin all the way out. He was headed straight down pit road. He caught a gear and shot into his pit, which was down at the 4th turn end of the track. And everybody said, hey, he sped coming into pits, but they didn't catch it.
All right, Dick Berggren is with Mike Skinner.
Mike, what happened?
I think it was my fault. I'm not real sure, but I haven't seen it yet. But Rusty jumped up on the outside of me, and we were both racing hard trying to get our lap back. And our car was really, really good right there. And I think I just got a little bit loose and hit Rusty, and I really apologize. Bad deal. I've been on the other side of that coin a bunch of times. I sure as heck don't like being the guy that causes it, but race long enough, this stuff's going to happen. I just hate it for our Kodak Racing Pontiac. We really, really struggled at the first part of the race, and we lost a lap. The guys never gave up. They just kept on working and working and working, and got the car where it was a top 5 or top 10 car in speeds, and we felt like we could have got our lap back. We could have raced them, but I hate it. I hate it for all the other competitors that got tore up in it. I think I just made a mistake.
It takes a big man to admit a thing like that, Mike.
Yes, and the consequences, of course, took Kurt Busch and Jeff Gordon from this race.
And I can't applaud Mike enough for saying, hey, it's my fault. I mean, you know, guys make mistakes out there, and all you really want them to do is say, hey, I made a mistake, and I'm sorry. That's all you really want a guy. That's all a guy can do. You don't want a guy to say, I don't know what happened. Maybe he cut out in front of me.
And who else deserves an attaboy is Rusty. As Rusty Wallace said, I don't think he meant to do it. Right. You know, it was an accident. Instead of trying to place blame.
Tell you what, guy, I've been watching the 17 car the last 2 or 3 times through turn 1 and 2. Little bit of tire smoke. Looks like maybe off the right rear. I don't really see it that much in 3 and 4. It's 1 and 2. But remember, they just pitted for, well, they've been out there for quite a while, so you wouldn't think it would actually be low air pressure.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I do see that little trail of smoke.
See it, you really can see it down here in turn 1. There you see it right there. It looks like the right rear.
Yeah, it's hazing off that right side.
And I don't think it'll be a product of low air pressure. Well, you want to talk about a guy that's on a march. We talked about it before we went to break, how well they probably got that front fender. Tony Stewart in the 20 car. He's up to 10th. Just went by Johnny Benson in the 10 car. He has 4 fresh tires. He has a nice left front fender, and he is moving forward.
Car doesn't look too bad right now, especially when he has 4 tires and some of these other cats don't.
2 contenders, Jeff Burton and Joe Nemechek, who spent some time up sniffing close to the lead. Now they battle for 7th place.
And you know, we'll keep an eye on Matt Kenseth in the 17. Also, he's running right side exhaust pipes also. So, you know, when he backs off the throttle getting into turn 1, it could be smoke out those exhaust pipes. So we'll keep a watch on that as well.
Could very well be, but one thing I'm telling you, he's running the fastest lap times that I've seen in quite some time.
Well, just 8 laps ago, he ran the fastest lap that he's ran in this entire race here at lap 193. Lap 185 was his quickest lap.
And the other driver who's doing the same thing is Sterling Marlin. Just ran his fastest lap of the day. Of course, these speeds will pale next weekend when we get to Atlanta, the fastest track in NASCAR.
Hang on to your helmet, baby. Tighten up your Hans device, pull them belts tight. We're going to go racing, high-speed racing next weekend.
No restrictor plates, no out of bounds.
Well over 200 mile an hour getting down in the corner at Atlanta.
See, Bobby Labonte in the 18 car in 5th right now. He had the quickest speed that time at the line.
200 mile an hour at Daytona and Talladega, you don't even feel it. 200 mile an hour at Atlanta is like riding the Loch Ness Monster or the Aerosmith or something.
Let's watch our Fox tracks on Bobby Labonte, who's in 5th. Let's see the interval. This is to the interval. Our leader right now, he's losing a little bit of ground, not a lot. And I just look at his lap times right now. Last time by, he actually was just a tick quicker than Matt Kenseth, the leader.
Sterling Marlin almost scraped the wall. There he is as he came off turn 4, but he is coming. And Marlin is closing on the leaders.
Jimmy Johnson, he moved up off the bottom some. You can see him back there. He's trying to high line to see if there's anything there for him. Those first 4 cars are kind of stretching it out on everybody else.
Again, an update this year to our Fox ticker, as you'll see in the second line there. Updates throughout the race.
Courtesy of Jeff Hammond.
Jeff's the only one still has somebody in the running with Sterling Marlin.
Yeah, he took you and I out down here in one blow. If that thing was going to smoke, and where it's smoking, it could very well, Larry, be out those right side tailpipes. As you back off that engine, and all the pressure inside the engine, sometimes suck a little oil down in there, and when you get letting off of it, it'll burn in the pipes.
Second place race.
I'm telling you, I watched Jimmy. He moved up off the bottom. He started running the high line, and it's working for him.
Dick Bergeron is with Jeff Gordon.
Just came out of his hall. Are you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. You know, it's just unfortunate we had that one little problem in the pits and put us back there, and we're playing catch up. Had a good race car, real good race car, and I think eventually we could have gotten up there and battled with him. We had to take a 2-tire stop to get some track position. I think we're still going to end up pretty good. We fell back a little bit, but it looked like the 4 got loose, got into Rusty, and I tried to slow it down, and the more I tried to slow it down, the more I was right in the middle of it.
Would it make you smile if I told you that your teammate just passed Junior?
That's awesome. I'm up there pulling for him. He's got a great race car, and he's got a good shot at leading the points coming out of this thing.
Thanks, Jeff.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, we talked about guys on the march. We talked about Tony Stewart at 20, Ryan Newman in the 12 car. He just went by Jimmy Spencer, and that's for 11th position. It wasn't but about 125 laps or so. He was 2 laps down, but they just continue to get that car better.
Got some good brakes. We know he's got a fast car.
Finished 4th here last year, so he knows his way around this racetrack. Remember, Jimmy Spencer in the 7, he was semi-involved in that wreck over there. They still have a good race car.
And here's Jeff Burton moving up on Michael Waltrip for 6th place. Battle for 11th on the left of your screen, and the race for 6th on the right.
Michael up at the high side, Jeff Burton right around the white line, right around the bottom.
Yeah, he's going to slide up in front of Michael, take the spot away.
Ryan Newman and Jimmy Spencer, they've been door handle to door handle side by side for about the last 3 laps.
Steve Park and Jeremy Mayfield.
Now, this got a little ugly there a while ago. Park's got a tire rub on the right front, and a little smoke flew off of it. I don't know if he got that from rubbing up against Jeremy or not, but they got awful close there a minute ago.
Now, that's not for position. Park's a lead lap car in 10th, and Mayfield is 1 lap down in 22nd.
And this is the best run we've seen out of Steve Park in quite some time. A car in the top 10 and still in touch with the leaders. Got a chance to move up some more.
And here comes Sterling. He's caught Dale Earnhardt Jr. This is for 3rd place. They're about 2.2 seconds behind the leader, Matt Kenseth.
Darrell, it's almost like Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Eury, that group. We heard a lot of people talk about this in the early part of the race. They didn't keep up with this racetrack. The car's going away. This racetrack is getting greasier and greasier, and they hadn't made enough adjustments or the right adjustments to keep up with it.
And that's the beauty part about having a really good, knowledgeable crew chief, good notes, good teammates, too, because a teammate can tell you something he did that helped his car and get your car good for the end of the day. That's what you're working toward all the time.
All right, Sterling goes by for third. Matt, is there a problem with the 8?
Mike, back on lap 196, Junior reported into Tony Uri. Junior said, Junior, that set of tires is just way too tight. They said 10-4 because they were looking at possibly using the same pressures on this set for their final set. So they're talking about what adjustments to make for that final run.
And that's the thing, Matt, as we talked about a little while ago, they're probably only going to get one more chance to adjust on that race car.
Yeah, and you don't want to be falling back. You know, you don't want to be falling back right now. Now's the time when you want to be going forward. You get behind now, you ain't going to catch up. You're not going to have time. Watch this one car when he goes off in the corner down here. It's kind of making me nervous. Got some right side smoke. I think that's off the right front. He made some contact, I think, with Jeremy Mayfield a little bit ago. And that's pretty serious tire smoke going off in the corner.
But I tell you, Darrell, we'll keep an eye on it. I think a lot like Matt Kenseth. He has right-side exhaust pipes as well. And we're seeing that a lot out of these cars.
Man, just stay on that shot. Just look at that car, that white nose. That car came down in that corner. Ryan Newman did. It looked like the throttle stuck on it. He closed on the park so fast.
And that's for 10th place, Park and Newman. Here's Ward Burton battling Terry Labonte and Johnny Benson. Ward's son, Jeb, underwent some minor surgery, recovering at home, and the Burton brothers, Ward and Jeb, with a hello to Jeb.
But I'm going to tell you what, give a call to Ward Burton's crew, led by Frankie Stoddard in the 22 car. They're a lap down back in 25th, but they had a charging problem early in the race. They called a caution, came to pit road, changed that battery, did not lose a lap. He's still out there a lap down.
Matt Kenseth, the only car on track that's as quick as Matt Kenseth this last lap is his Roush teammate Jeff Burton.
The race front fender's got a little rub on it that we had all weekend, Matt. You know that. But the A's been complaining that we're smoking a little bit. That's all it is. We lost a little here in the last restart. Traveling a little farther than what we were earlier. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'll let you know where it leads at.
It's traveling a little further on the right front because he's driving it a little bit harder than he was earlier. His lap times are quicker. He's driving in a corner harder. Tires rubbing on the fender.
Well, it's probably rubbing, actually, since it's traveling more, rubbing up at the top of the
fender. That's why they're not worried about it. They're telling him that what the problem is. They must have had that problem earlier in the week. Boy, when you look back, this is how the 48 Jimmy Johnson, he can't even see the leader up there. He's a 4-back.
Matt?
Well, Mike, Jimmy Johnson reporting into crew chief Chad Canassis as the car is just getting tighter and tighter. Chad replied, you should try backing off a little earlier, the old Kyle Petty trick, hopefully helping to get that car to turn. And Jimmy said, boss, I am trying everything. To Steve Burns.
Matt, Bobby Labonte riding in the 5th position, last pitted on lap 167. They made no adjustments to that car then, but they have been working on adjusting Bobby Labonte's confidence. We've heard about that today. Crew chief Michael Fatback McSwain telling him he's the man, you're doing a great job, and they're working on his confidence. Last year he finished 16th in points.
His car looks awfully good, and it's right around the white line there like you like it. He's back in the throttle. He's coming up off of 2. Looks like he's in pretty good shape to me right now.
Right now, lap time-wise, Jimmy Johnson in 48, Sterling Marlin in the 40. I've been watching the last 2 or 3 laps. They almost run identical speeds, along with Dale Earnhardt Jr. back and forth. But this guy right here, Matt Kenseth in the 17, he's about a 1/10 of a second a lap quicker than 2nd through 4th.
One thing Jimmy Johnson did, he ran the high line quite a bit. I think he got up there and cooled his tires down a little bit because now he's back around the bottom. And the 99 and the 15 here are working on each other pretty hard, too. Michael running the high line and Burton down on the bottom. Whoa. I think he got up out of the groove a little bit there. Just threw a little dust up.
That's up there where that wreck was a while ago. They put a little bit of speedy dry down.
Michael just got past Jeff once again to retake 6th place.
And, man, I mean, when you're up that light-colored asphalt, that just means that no one else has been up there, and you're up there all by yourself.
You know, Darrell, we've been talking the whole race about cars that have been getting themselves better as they've been making adjustments. And a lot of cars were a lap down at one point, like Kevin Harvick in the 29. Now he survived not being in that big wreck over there. He's up to 14th position, and he has a pretty quick race car right now.
Battling Johnny Benson.
And you know, you talked about Harvick, and I looked there on the monitor. Jerry Labonte's up here in 13th place. Pretty darn good day for him. And Jim Long, his crew chief, they're having a pretty nice run here.
Terry practiced well, Darrell. In one of the practice sessions, he was up in the top 10. A nice surprise.
And they brought a brand new race car here, untested, but Jim Long, you mentioned him, his crew chief, told me, said, Larry, we just keep getting better and better every time we put another one of these 2003 Chevrolet bodies on.
Yeah, a lot of the guys went to the wind tunnel after Rockingham, because I'm telling you, they left Rockingham, they were worried. Most of the Chevrolet teams were, and they wanted to go to the wind tunnel and say, what have we done here? But they came back from the wind tunnel saying, you know, we got to go to Las Vegas because the information we're getting says we should be good.
Now Terry's closing in on Jimmy Spencer. Battle of Veterans, that'll be for 12th place between Spencer's Dodge and Labonte's Chevrolet.
And now is when you want your car to be its best. Right now you've been kind of tuning on her all day. Now show me what you got.
Labonte's caught Spencer for the moment. Can't make the pass. Second place is heated up. Sterling Marlin's caught Jimmy Johnson in a pack of cars and trying to come through for second spot. Matt Kenseth is your leader. 3.5 seconds up on Jimmy Johnson, Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Bobby Labonte. This is NASCAR on Fox.
Fox tonight. Hollywood's sexiest star is looking for love in Springfield.
She's had more today. Don't worry, you can still enter the Be a Grand Marshal for a Day contest. Tune in the first hour after the green flag drops for each of our remaining Winston Cup races, and look for that animated car. Note the number on the side of the car where you now see the question mark. Then log on to NASCAR.com or FoxSports.com, and you can be the Grand Marshal next year at Rockingham. For more details, log on to FoxSports.com or NASCAR.com. Contest continues next week in Atlanta. 216 laps complete in the UAW Daimler Chrysler 400 at Las Vegas. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his teammate Michael Waltrip battling.
And 3380, that's what you've been about running about every lap. I'll start calling them out to you a little bit. No, don't call lap time. Just don't let the race slip by. I didn't know that many laps left.
That was Dale Earnhardt Jr. talking to his crew chief, Tony Urey. One, he don't want to hear lap times, but he's like saying, you guys didn't tell me this race is this close to over. Don't let it slip up on me.
You know, Michael and Junior, between them, have only one top 10 finish here, and that was Junior in 2000, finishing 10th. So this has not been a good track for the two of them, but they're having a good day today.
We need to set up what's going to happen here probably in about these last 40 or 50 laps. Remember, we have 20 cars on the lead lap. Most of the guys at the front, especially the top five, Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson, Sterling Marlin, Michael Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and actually Bobby Labonte, they're going to have to come to pit road here in about the next 10 laps because a lot of the guys in the back half of the top 20, they pitted 10 laps later, but Jeff Burton and Tony Stewart, who in 7th and 8th, they'll be able to run a little further than those top cars.
On the leader's strategy.
Here, Matt, leads at 4 seconds. I just want to let you go to 15 and run the way top of the track. Run it, you only.
Well, Matt Kenseth already on the radio saying, hey, next time through we got to free this car up a little bit. But let's talk to his crew chief, Robbie Reiser. Going to stop him from his work here for a moment as he's focusing on what's going on the track. If you have a second, what do you think about this next pit window? When and what you going to do?
Well, we don't really have much choice. We're going to be out of fuel here a little bit, so I believe everybody's going to put 4 tires on. The only way you can go fast here for a while, so we'll probably pit with, probably 37 or 40 laps to go and go to the end if no caution.
All right, good luck. Steve?
Well, Didi, remember, Michael Waltrip pitted a little bit out of sequence on lap 131 when he took 4 tires. He gave up track position, went back out on the track 16th. He's battled his way back up into the top 5. Crew Chief Slugger Labby telling him his car is 2 tenths better than the leaders. Go get him. He's going to pit with 35 laps to go, Matt Yoakum.
Well, if you formulate the laps, Steve, Jimmy Johnson should be coming in around lap 227, 228. Chad Canals, what are you looking at for your final stop, Chad?
I
Gonna have to say with the way the track's been today, probably gonna take 2 tires here, the final stop, and 2 cans of fuel, and you know, kind of see how we end up. It depends if it stays green or not.
What's the number 4?
The Thunderbirds, U.S. Air Force. They gave us a tour of their place the other day and put that 4 on there. The crew chief gave it to me, so that's a pretty cool little deal.
Matt Prunier, the crew chief on Thunderbird number 4. In fact, they've got decals inside the cockpit on the dash and also on the B post inside the race car.
There's our fuel window. Getting close.
Now that's on our top 3. Remember, they'll have to pit before a lot of the cars like Jeff Burton, Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman. But Darrell, those guys, they can't run too much further past those guys because they'll get too far away on those fresh tires.
Yeah, you got to come. When the 17 comes, you got to start coming with him. Got to think about coming as soon as he does.
And what these crew chiefs have to be careful, Darrell, if they do just take 2 right side tires, normally here 2 right side tires will tighten the car up. So if your car is pushing, it can make it push worse. I just think I'd be thinking 4 tires.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I can see you come up off your stool.
I've got to put 2 cans of fuel in it. While I'm putting 2 cans of fuel in, that's about 12 seconds. I can get me 4 tires.
Kenseth may pit in 7 laps. There, inside the oval, is the amount of his lead, which is holding steady at just about 4 seconds over Jimmy Johnson.
Now, see, in the car, I couldn't stand up like that. I would be buckled down, and I would. You would say, "But calm down, just calm down." I tell you, this 012 car, he's just boogieing. He's been 2 laps down, and he just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, he just ran 33.77. A lot of the other guys are in the 34-second bracket that's in front of him.
He's the only car on the track right now who is as fast as the race leader, Matt Kenseth.
He's been catching when he gets to him. He got Nemechek there a lap or 2 ago and pulled away from him, and now he's setting his sights on Tony Stewart, which Tony and all that further ahead of him.
Now, you and I just can't think about our race car. I guarantee out of our top 20 on the lead lap, there'll be some, especially way back, that they'll try just 2 tires trying to get some track position.
Oh, I agree, but if I'm up there in the 17 car and some of these faster race cars, you heard Robbie Reiser say, if you want to go fast, you're going to have 4 tires.
Well, let's find out what the 3rd place team will do. Let's go to the pit of the defending race champion, Dick Berger.
Shirley Marlin's crew chief is Lee McCall. When will you pit? What will you do?
It's looking like about lap 234, 233, somewhere right in there. We're going to make a slight air pressure adjustment and track bar adjustment and try to get this Coors Light Dodge freed up a little bit.
This looks like a fun race at the finish, Mike Joy.
I think it will be. 43. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, the first of our leaders are on pit road, Mike. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 8 car, just comes to pit road.
Well, the die is cast.
But, you know, he stayed out there on that last caution. He had several laps on his tires already, so it makes sense he would be first in.
Now, these are green flag pit stops, and if we go the distance caution-free, this will be the last stop of the day. And he's going to have company on pit road. Is that Bill Elliott, who's also come in. All right, Junior to his pit. Here's Matt.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. said his car was just way too tight. Do not look for any chassis adjustments on the stop, but they are going to adjust with air pressure. As they already come around to the left side of the car, Jay Guarneri going to work on the rears. Junior's down and away.
Joe Nemechek is in along with Bill Elliott.
What everybody just holds their breath right now for is a caution. You do not want to see a caution flag once you've hit pit road.
The other thing you can't have, this is the last pit stop. Matt Kenseth, our leader's on pit road. No mistakes. No loose lug nuts, no speeding coming in, no speeding going out.
Comes a bunch of cars. Here comes Michael and the 99.
Jeannie?
Well, the debate continued as he made his way down pit road. 2 tires or 4 tires. What they did decide is we will give you just enough fuel to get through this thing. We're not going to fill it up. Got the right side tires done, and they did decide to go for the left side as well, and a track bar adjustment included in this stop as well.
The 15 car is a little bit tight. They're going to take some wedge out, put some air in the right rear. Michael wants the windshield tear off. It is. Big clutch stop for Sean Ward. Chad Walters, the tire carriers. Service is complete for Michael Waltrip. A little bit of trouble on the left front.
Steve Park is in and out. Bobby Labonte, Casey Mears, Jamie McMurray, and Jeff Burton.
And let me tell you why Robbie Reiser wanted 4 tires. His crew did it in 13 seconds, and he had a 4-second lead. He probably is not going to give a thing up taking 4 tires.
Wow. All right, Johnny Benson's in, Terry Labonte, and Tony Raines. Jimmy Johnson is in, and right behind him comes Sterling Marlin onto pit road.
Here comes Tony Stewart.
Bobby Labonte done with 4 tires. Tony Stewart's in. Green flag stops, the last scheduled stop of the day. Dick Berggren.
Sterling Marlin started this race in 34th position, worked his way all the way up to 2nd. Right now, the pressure is on this crew. Jackman, Greg Passy around the car. Fuelman, Jerry Schweitz, going to put just enough fuel in this thing to make it all the way. Tires on the left, he's gone to Matt.
And look for a 2-tire change on Jimmy Johnson Chevrolet. A big wedge adjustment. They're topping off the fuel. Service complete. 10-7.
And he beat Sterling Marlin out. Stewart's out.
But think about this. He did it in 10-7. Kenseth's 13-something. He's got 4 tires, and he had 3 seconds or 4 seconds to give up. He's in the lead.
And look who's leading the race. After being 2 laps down and fighting his way back, Ryan Newman is out front.
I don't know what you call it, but I call that tenacious.
You bet.
Now, he will have to come to pit road here shortly, though, and he don't need to wait too long to do it because he's given up all that time.
Kevin Harvick's been in. Kenny Schrader and Ricky Rudd are on pit road. Here's Rudd's stop for the Wood brothers.
Here he comes, Mike.
Ricky Rudd elected to only change 2 tires.
And the leader's in. Ryan Newman gives up the lead to pit, along with Derek Cope and Ricky Craven. Steve Burns is waiting on Newman.
Ryan Newman heads down pit road. Mike, they won't make any adjustments. They need to have a great pit stop as well. Robert Benfield and Joe Pyatt are the tire changers. Gasman George Whitley, Jackman Chad Norris. No adjustments to that 12 car. They're just going to slam 4 tires on. Tires are going back on the left side of the 12 car. They clean off the grill, and Ryan Newman's headed down pit road.
Jack Sprague makes a stop. So does Dave Blaney, last week's pole sitter. And the leader now is John Andretti.
John Andretti in the 43, Jimmy Spencer in the 7, Todd Bodine in the 54. They still have to come to pit road, but John Andretti will get 5 bonus points for leading this race.
Andretti was a top 10 runner the first 100 miles here in Las Vegas. Faded back a bit out of contention. But taking that long run, Kenny Wallace comes onto pit lane for his last stop.
And I mean, John Andretti, they need a good run here. Their first 2 finishes this year at Daytona and Rockingham, 34th and 39th. They're 42nd in Winston Cup points coming into the 3rd race here at Las Vegas.
First race he's led since we were at the Brickyard last August.
He's still going, you know, when he comes to pit lane now, he's out there riding on those old tires. Time everything circles out, I don't know if he's going to cycles through. I don't know if he's going to be in all that good a shape.
9th place battle here. Jeff Burton and Bobby Labonte both with fresh tires.
The only thing that would put him in good shape is a caution flag.
That would make him look like a hero.
Now when Andretti and Jimmy Spencer pit and Todd Bodine, that should hand the lead back to Matt Kenseth.
Kenseth has already went by Todd Bodine already, and Todd still has to come to pit road.
Well, that pit stop, as we saw all last year, that pit stop for Kenseth, that's going to be hard to overcome.
Well, it's all said and done. Those guys pit. He'll have a 4-second lead over Jimmy Johnson.
Jeff Gordon returns to the race after heavy damage in the Rusty Wallace-Mike Skinner crash. He hopes he has enough of that car taped up. That looks like Saturday Night Ugly.
That's going to be serious aero push right there.
Yeah, it'd look good at, I don't know, Stafford or Thompson or maybe Irwindale.
Not only will it push like a dump truck, it kind of looks like a dump truck.
And about the most he could gain by going back out there. There's John Andretti. He almost missed pit road. We talked about that earlier. He comes to pit road. I'd say he'll be one that maybe just try 2 right side tires.
But give Jeff Gordon and that crew credit because they're going out to get some points.
2 tires.
John Andretti.
Crew chief. 2 tires, only 2 right side tires. He only needs about a can of fuel, Steve Burns.
Yeah, the fuel goes in. Tire changers Chris Garner and Ernie Williman putting those right side tires in. They also make 1 turn of wedge out of the right rear tire for John Andretti.
Well, their tire changer on the right side had to hustle around.
That was really good strategy, though.
Yep.
And Jimmy Spencer in the 7, he comes to pit road, but Matt Kenseth had just went by him to take the lead.
All right, Spencer comes in for his last stop. To Speedway Illustrated's Dick Berggren.
Thanks, Mike. And just as soon as Kenseth did go by Spencer, they made the decision, pit this car. They had hung out there for a while. You know, it'd been nice to catch a caution flag. They didn't. Right side tires are off this car. This will be a 4-tire change. It's going to take all the rubber he possibly can to try to get some speed out of this car rather than go for track position and take just 2. Spencer, gone.
That will just about cycle through pit stops. Haven't seen Todd Bodine on pit road, but Matt Kenseth will go back to the lead. And Jimmy Johnson's second by 5 seconds.
And John Andretti came in leading the race. He goes out in 23rd position, 1 lap down.
Hideo Fukuyama makes his last pit stop of the day as we are 238 laps complete in Las Vegas.
Advance Auto Parts. And by Valvoline's Max Life. Take better care of your higher mileage vehicle with Valvoline's Max Life. Matt Kenseth, your leader. Jeff Gordon led the first 50 laps of the race. After the first 100 caution-free, we've now had a record-tying 6 cautions, track record tying for this racetrack. There was a 7-car bang-up that affected points leader and the hometown kid Kurt Busch. And Kenseth and Roush Racing, where they have dominated this track in the past. Jeff Hammond, there's your guy, Matt Kenseth in the lead.
Well, he's definitely doing a fine job here today. You go back and you think about the last 5 races, Roush Racing has led 33% of all laps run here at Las Vegas. So whatever kind of mystique Jack Roush and these teams have over this racetrack, it continues. I mean, look, they look awesome right now.
He's better than lucky in Vegas. He's good. And Kenseth, 5 wins, most of any driver last year. All of his wins starting 20th or further back in the field. He started 17th here today in Las Vegas.
Matt Kenseth and Robbie Rice are having a discussion about that last pit stop and the last stage of the race here.
Hey, buddy, the pit sequence is pretty much through. I was a little worried about the 48 taking the 2 tires, but you got 4 and you're half a straightaway ahead of them. We're in good shape here.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. Not only is he in good shape, he's beating them about a 10th a lap right now. So he's leading the race and pulling away from the second-place car this late in the race. That is a great feeling for a driver.
There's Robbie Reiser up on the pit box.
Now, Darrell and Larry, we keep talking about these guys and how great they were last year. And I went over and talked to Robbie Reiser and said, well, tell me something, buddy. Have you been able to replace those 2 tire changes? Is it going to affect your team? He said, Jeff, yes, I have. And I think I've got better tire changes than I had last year. That's going to be pretty scary for these guys because they did an excellent pit stop. But the 2 guys running behind them, a lot of pit strategy there. 2 tires for Jimmy Johnson. But I also noticed on Michael's pit stop that the gas man only put 1 can of gas in and helped pull the left rear tire to try to speed his pit stop up and get him 4 tires, which looked like it may pay off for him.
Yeah, he's up there racing with Jimmy Johnson right now for second place.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. is closing on them, Darrell.
Yes, he is. He's coming in a hurry.
I mean, again, I think as hot as the racetrack is and as much as these cars are sliding down, Jimmy Johnson is paying the price for those 2 right side tires.
I just keep thinking back to what Robbie Reiser said. If you want to go fast, you're going to have 4 tires.
This is the interval. Dale Earnhardt Jr., leader Matt Kenseth, losing a little bit of ground. What happens, Dale Earnhardt Jr., when Matt Kenseth in the corner, it picks up, but when Matt gets on the straightaway, he pulls back away from him a little bit.
Whoa, look out here. Give me some room.
That's Hideo Fukuyama in Travis Carter's second car. Great Japanese road racer, but he's only had 2 Winston Cup starts. And I'll tell you, Darrell, he's given a good account of himself today. Hasn't been near any of the big skirmishes, and right now he's running in 33rd spot, logging some valuable laps.
Yes, he is. He's just trying to learn this, learn how we race here. It's not easy to come into Winston Cup racing. I don't care where you come from, Busch or truck, you still got to learn how they run these Winston Cup cars, and he's doing a pretty good job of staying out of the way and getting some good experience.
And we're going to see him at about half the Winston Cup races this year in
22 races are going to run. Here comes Bobby Labonte, and he goes right up under Sterling, and he's right up along the side of Jeff Burton here as they head down toward turn 1.
Yeah, I mean, that's a battle for like 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, that whole group right there.
There's the 43 car. He took 2 tires, and you can see it just isn't paying off for these guys.
Tony Stewart in the 20 car. I mean, look at him right there making it 3 wide. He goes by Sterling Marlin on the inside. Look at old Spencer right there, even though Jimmy is a lap down in the 7 car.
All this is a battle for 5th place. You don't You can't imagine he's just knocking that left front in every week, because then the car works better afterwards. But it does.
I wouldn't say
no,
that.
I wouldn't say that.
But you could say when they repaired it, they might have repaired it better than the original piece.
You know, it's during competition, during the race, you do what you got to do.
The heat of the battle.
That's right.
Let's see who's quick at the line here. Watching leader Matt Kenseth.
Takes a while for the second place car to show up on our speed chart.
It really does.
About 7.5 seconds.
Michael's done a good job today, though. His pit strategy at times was a little questionable, but when it counted, he's come to the front, and there he is in second place.
And our pole sitter Bobby Labonte is fastest at the line, running in 5th place.
Problem is he needs a caution because he's 10 seconds behind Matt Kenseth. Matt Kenseth is probably the only guy out there that don't want to see a caution flag, as we have 15 laps to
here's
go.
Kenseth at the line now. I'm going to wait.
I'm going to go make a sandwich.
Wait. Here's the second place car, Michael. Now, that's how far behind Michael is to the leader. Second place car.
You see him going by Jeff Gordon right there on the bottom in the 24 car. The fan may say, why did they fix the car? Why did they come back out there? Unless any other cars fall out, he's not going to gain any positions. But, Darrell, one of the things I always prided myself in and that race team is no DNFs. I want to be running at the end of every event, no matter what.
Well, if a team gets accustomed every time you bend a fender, you load the car up and go home, you'll never win a championship.
And Kurt Busch has also come back on the Speedway. Same song, second verse, with a lot of repair to his car.
Well, these championships have become where you win them only by 20, 30 points. So if you can get 3 or 4 or 5, whatever points you can gain here by going back out, that's worth the effort.
And Gordon could pick up 1 or 2 positions if a couple of cars were to have trouble. Aerial coverage from Budweiser as you watch Jimmy Johnson and Dale Jr. battle for 3rd.
Jimmy Johnson has not given up with those 2 tires, because remember, he has 2 tires. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has 4 tires.
Matt?
But Larry Mack, Chad Canals told Jimmy, we realize at this point in time we're probably not going to win the race. Now we've got to look at the bigger picture. We just need a top 5. 35 consecutive races. Jimmy has been in the top 10 in points. He ended the day 3rd. But with Kurt Busch's problems and Dale Jarrett's problems, they're looking at the bigger picture and what might be at day's end.
Points as of now, as Jeff Gordon has taken his car back to the garage area.
Well, once he comes to get to a point where no matter what happens, you can't gain any more spots, you might as well take it on in the garage. Right. Sure, that's what they did. Ryan Newman moved up into 9th place. He got by the 25 there a second ago.
4th place race. Bobby Labonte taking it past Jimmy Johnson.
A Bobby Labonte kind of day.
Yeah.
Stay out of trouble, work on your car, show up at the end of the day, and people say, where'd he come from?
UPS, the official delivery company of NASCAR, delivers your chance to win 4 tickets to the Daytona 500. Log on to foxsports.com, keyword UPS Racing for your chance to win.
I tell you, right behind this group running side by side, Jimmy Johnson, 18. You see that orange car right there? That's another Joe Gibbs car, Tony Stewart. He's up to 6th place, and he's quite a bit quicker than Jimmy Johnson and his teammate Bobby Labonte right now.
You know, this is the first really, I mean, it's pretty warm out there today, and I'm watching Sterling Marlin, who was up there in the top 2 or 3 for quite some time. I just wonder if he was out of the car at the end of last year, the latter part of the last year. I just wonder if any fatigue factor would be setting in with him today. You know, Daytona's it's not a physical place. He fell out at Rockingham. This is the first good hard run he's had since his injury last year at Kansas City.
Good question. Look at Jimmy Spencer down on the bottom. Now he is 1 lap down, fighting there with Labonte and Jimmy Johnson, who are racing for 4th.
Matt, you got any information on Sterling?
DW, I spoke with Al Shuford during the winter, and he said that Sterling Marlin's workout regime had gone like super max. Sterling really wanted to make a point in the offseason that when he got to Daytona, he was in the best shape he has ever been to climb behind the wheel of a race car. And he was. Al was very impressed with the workout program that Sterling adhered to during the offseason. They felt like that would really pay dividends here in the new season.
So that answers that question.
Sure. We went 100 laps caution-free and then had 6 of them in quick succession as Tony Stewart moves past Jimmy Johnson. This is for 5th place. 11 cars are on the lead lap, including Ryan Newman, Joe Nemechek, and Steve Parton.
I'm going to tell you what, Matt Kenseth, he's over 9 seconds out. I believe he picked up where his teammate Kurt Busch left off by saying, here, Chevy, 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 Chevy.
He left them in the dust.
One Ford in the top 6, and that is leader Matt Kenseth.
Got to believe this is a good day for the 18 and the 20, particularly the 18 with Michael McSwain as new crew chief. He sat on the pole and going to have him a good finish here today. That's a big turnaround from last year.
Now side by side for second, Michael Waltrip and teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr. Did Junior Johnson used to get nervous when you and Neil Bonnick run side by side like that?
No, but he'd get mad if your car was faster than your teammates and you didn't try to pass him. I can tell you that.
They're doing a whole lot more than trying to pass. I mean, they're beating on each other as we have 6 laps to go.
When we get back to shop on Monday, if your car was better than the other guys and he beat you, Junior would wear you out. He'd be coming on that radio right now and saying, boy, you ain't laying down on me, are you?
But you have to believe whether it's second or whether it's third, this is looking pretty good to Dale Earnhardt Jr. when you look at those first 2 finishes he had this year. Matt Yoakum.
Well, Larry Mack, I was just going to add even more onto that. When you look at his season, the way he started 38th in points, he said in our pre-race show that he felt like this was an important race, a very pivotal point in the season where they had to come out of here with a strong top 5 finish to try to get back on track if they wanted to have any chance at a championship. A lot of people in the garage area feel like you're not going to be able to win the title this year with a few bad finishes like that or 6 or 7 DNFs. They realized they had to step it up, and they sure came through today.
Look at this race for 6th place as Jeff Burton gets underneath Jimmy Johnson, and Sterling Marlin is right there.
And right behind them is that 12 car. He keeps nibbling away, and he's coming right up into the picture here. And he's got about 4 or 5 cars there that if he doesn't run out of time, he's going to be able to get around.
And just remember, this is a product of not maybe Jimmy Johnson's car going away on him. They only changed 2 right side tires where Sterling Marlin, Jeff Burton, Ryan Newman, who's coming, they all changed 4 tires with about 30 to go.
Come on.
I just don't, you can't say enough about a guy that got 2 laps down early in the race, fights his way back up here into the top 10, and could be in the top 5 if he doesn't run out of time.
And he's about to, Darrell. 3 laps to go.
He's going to be on their back bumper. They're all up there racing pretty hard, the 40 and the 48, and here he comes.
I mean, he makes so much ground up turning down in the corner to the center of the corner.
I don't know how he does it, but he drives the car down in the corner harder than anybody I've seen in my life. That includes Cale Yarborough.
Johnson and Marlin, this should go all the way to the finish, and Newman right there to capitalize at the 12.
He'll go right through the middle of them. Watch him. They spread out a little bit and give him a little room. He'll shoot right through the middle of them. 2
laps to go. Matt Kenseth with a 10-second lead. This is the best battle on the racetrack. It's for 7th place.
There he goes. He's around Sterling, and he's going to gas it up.
Outside.
Jimmy's going to give him enough room to go down the outside, down that back straightaway, and that Dodge is humping down that straightaway.
And Sterling couldn't stay with him. The door was open, but Sterling couldn't capitalize.
I mean, he's been able to run that car on the high side, on the low side.
Clear high.
And we're on the bail lap. 1 to go.
And he's got 1 more car up here he might be able to get. It's not that one, by the way, because nobody... This is what you call a Sunday afternoon drive for that 17 car.
Matt Kenseth comes off turn number 4 and scores his 7th career Winston Cup victory.
Boy, we got a battle coming back here. Jimmy Johnson sideways. Him and Marlin got together.
How did that car miss him?
He had he's never lifted out of the throttle yet. Jimmy hadn't.
I mean, that was a battle for 8th position, and John Andretti in the 43 just made it by. Dale Earnhardt Jr. did beat teammate Michael Waltrip for 2nd place back to the line.
Jimmy Johnson.
And he's sitting there watching all these points go down the drain.
Gets his car refired, and he'll come across. And another huge smoke up of turn 4. So here comes Johnson. He's going to make the flag.
He'll come across 11th, the last car on the lead lap.
What might have been.
And I'm thinking he's not a happy camper.
Talking about somebody.
Hey, this guy
Yeah, he wanted Jimmy to get out of there. He was going to be in his way if he didn't.
Matt Kenseth has the highest starting position of all 7 Las Vegas winners, 17th in scoring his 7th Winston Cup victory.
Now, where's Michael going?
Yeah. I think he's just happy to run good somewhere besides Daytona.
I know he is. I know he is. That's cool. But I'd keep an eye on that 48 car because he's hunting. As far as Michael's concerned, he won this race. Look at Jimmy Johnson. He's looking for that 40 car. Here he is down here, buddy. I mean, I'm not trying to incite anything, but he's looking for him and he's sitting down here. He's hot.
6 races at Las Vegas, and Jack Roush has won 4 of them. 3 of his drivers, 4 wins.
I always wondered how come we didn't do donuts and all that stuff. Our tires were too, these guys talk about tires, our tires were too hard. We'd have just tore the man's track up.
They would have thrown off sparks.
Sparks, they'd have been sparking. Watch this.
Here's what happened. Last lap, Marlin inside, Johnson outside.
This was a battle for 8th coming to the checkered flag.
Up, Sterling moves up just enough to get into the left rear, Jimmy. Now, I'll tell you, this man does a whale of a job in that 43 car. And Jimmy does a whale of a job keeping that thing out of the fence. He never lifted out of the throttle.
Let's go on board and see how this unfolded.
But you know, Darrell, we saw that so many times.
Look that engine there. He never lifts. He stayed in that thing and spun it all the way to the infield to keep it from backing up in the fence. If he'd have locked it down, John Andretti would have been in his door.
Okay, we're ready.
Matt Kenseth hits the jackpot in Las Vegas. Steve Burns in victory lane.
And Matt Kenseth congratulating his crew. Matt, you told us the other day your best previous finish in 3 starts here had been 14th, and you weren't happy about that. How did you win here today?
Just an awesome pit crew. You know, we had some turnover over the winter, and these guys are still the world champs. These guys worked really hard to get me out of the pits, and it was key to be out front. You know, seemed like the forwards had trouble keeping up behind, but when we got out front, we could set sail. So it was, I'm pretty excited. I expect to win here, but it's a great day for our DeWalt Ford. I got to thank DeWalt, Ford, Comcast, Smirnoff Ice Triple Black, and Lexan. They've been great supporters, and we're happy to be here.
Matt, what was the turning point today, the key to victory?
Just getting out front, you know, that pit stop where we beat Dale Jr. out of the pits, that was the key. It was, and I stayed out by accident. When I stayed out with Dale Jr., they wanted me to pit, and I stayed out by accident, so that was a big help, actually, because of the way it worked out, and, you know, being ahead of the 8 after that pit stop.
Congratulations. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. needed a day like this in the points, comes home 2nd. It looked like you were having a lot of fun out there racing with a 15 at the end.
Yeah, we were having good times. Michael and them, man, they ought to be real proud. They did a great job. Congratulations to Matt and Robbie Reiser. They're making a hell of an impact here in Winston Cup. I don't think anybody had any idea they were as good as they are. But
well, what about you and your team today?
Well, we were good. I mean, that's how good we're supposed to be, you know. I mean, we expect that out of ourselves every week, you know. I'm just glad we finally got the results that we know we can produce. So maybe I'll shut a few of the critics up and we can go on to the race next week.
Well, a top 5 yesterday as a car owner in the Busch Series and a top 5 today as a driver. To Dick Berggren.
With Bobby Labonte right now, he's talking to Jimmy Makar. You had a good day. Did you have fun out there?
Yeah, I really did. The guys did a great job in the pits, and you know, we got behind there that one time. We took on 4 tires, and you know, it seemed like everything that was happening in front of me. And luckily, I just wasn't involved in anything. But very fortunate that we came out here today with a clean race car. And the guys in the Interstate Battery Chevrolet did a great job and came out with a top 5, a first top 5 in a long time, I'm sure. So it feels good.
Nice job. Jeannie?
This car of Michael Waltrip is still moving, buddy, so we're going to back up here a little bit. I got to ask you what your brother asked at the end of the race here. Where were you going? He thought maybe you were just so happy you won or did so well somewhere outside of Daytona that you were just losing your mind.
Man, when you're a redneck and that grass is inviting. I mean, I wanted to slide through it so bad, and I didn't win. I thought, what the heck? I'll just slide through it anyway. I would like to say, God bless our president. I hope the whole country's behind him and supporting him, praying for him. And, you know, we're united as a country and stand behind the president. I've wanted to say that for a week now. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, you got that out. Just real quick, what about the duel with your teammate here?
Man, I just got too tight. We ran like 4/10 fast. faster than anybody on the first few laps out of the pit, and I knew that was trouble because it meant we were too good then. We needed to be loose then, having to slide sideways and struggle a bit on the early run, and then be good at the end. We got way too tight then. Couldn't do anything with him. Made me mad, though. I wanted to run second, and he come up there and got me.
Oh, well, I guess you settled for third. Congrats, finally cracking the top 10 at Las Vegas. Mike?
Selling parts.
You sure are. You're selling everything.
Matt Kenseth is a winner. A last lap dust-up between Sterling Marlin and Jimmy Johnson sent Chad Knaus reaching for the radio button to talk down his driver after the contact.
Jimmy, calm down a little bit, buddy. NASCAR's got an eye on you here. Calm down, bud.
Again, here's what happened as they raced for 8th place on the final lap. Marlin finishes 8th. Joe Nemechek moves to 9th. Steve Park to 10th. Jimmy Johnson ends up 11th. Race, that's what we got.
Oh, it was very exciting, but I got to tell you something. When you take a great driver, put him in a great car, and make 13 and change second pit stops, everybody else in big trouble, guys.
Larry, the pit crew might not have won it, but boy, they sure helped.
Well, I mean, they've done that so many times. Remember, this is a different group from last week, but he won 5 times last year. Matt Kenseth will be the first to tell you those guys on pit road and Robbie Reiser are the big reason we go to victory lane on a pretty regular basis.
All the pre-race talk about the Chevrolets, and it's the Jack Roush team that scores here in Las Vegas for the 4th time. Here's a look at the unofficial order of finish. We'll see you at NASCAR's fastest track next week, Atlanta. Chris?
Thanks. With Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers down here in the Hollywood Hotel. There were 9 cars out of the race. A combined total of wins of those drivers, 184. So that playing havoc with certainly the way that this race played out and the current point standings, which we'll get to in a moment. Matt Kenseth worked on his father's race car for 3 years before starting to drive it. His dad made a deal with Matt, said buy the car, race it for 3 years. When Matt turned 16, he got to drive the car, and he's the hottest driver now in Winston Cup racing. Although current in points, Michael Waltrip, Daytona 500 winner, our points leader after race number 3.
And that's really a strong right there effort by the Michael Waltrip group right there, because again, a lot of times when you win at Daytona 500, you lose a little bit of focus. Not a very good day at Rockingham, but came back today with a solid run. Now he's leading the points.
And we touched on it. Mike mentioned it. Chevrolets came here with a plan. And like DEI at Daytona, Roush Racing, they've won 5 of the last Winston Cup races and 4 of the 6 run at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
We talked about it earlier. The Taurus or the Hare. It looks like right now the Taurus is still rules here at Las Vegas. You see right there Jack Roush in the hat right there. Yep, cat in the hat. They've got some magic here when it comes to Las Vegas, and I don't really know what it's all about. Even though I work for them, they have an understanding as far as, I think, the power plant. I think they really got an engine, good engine combination. Even though Mark Martin had problems, you saw how well that car ran today as far as the 17 and the 97.
Matt Kenseth went off 7-1 the odds, and obviously paid quite well. We hoped and tried to contact Jimmy Johnson and also Sterling Marlin, and that cost Jimmy Johnson pretty much the points lead at the end. That spin out on the last lap. They were just a little bit
busy, I think. They may be going over to the big red truck and have a little conversation about how they need to control their emotions.
All right, and we will be updating next week, certainly the McDonald's drive-thru, of course, the pit crews and their involvement, and Michael Waltrip came in, certainly the leader in this, but you heard Matt Kenseth credit his crew, and they've been one of the best pit crews.
We saw once again today how important the pit crew is, and I think this is really a great contest we got going on, and don't be surprised if you don't see Matt's guys start to rally and get up there and be close to Michael Waltrip.
All right, next week, fastest show on earth as the scene shifts to Atlanta. Another full weekend of racing action. Friday, Winston Cup qualifying on FX. Saturday, Winston Cup practice on FX, followed by exciting ARCA Remax Series racing. That's on the Speed Channel. And then Sunday, start your day with NASCAR this morning, presented by Smirnoff Ice Triple Black. That's on Fox Sports Net, followed by Winston Cup racing on Fox, presented by Home Depot. Tony Stewart Smoke looking to defend his title in Atlanta. And a good run for Tony Stewart today, finishing 5th in this race as NASCAR returns across the Fox family of networks from Atlanta next week.
And you can see right there that once again, the Roush cars are the champions when it comes to Las Vegas and beating the odds when you come here.
Matt Kenseth making the Midwest proud from Wisconsin. He's won 6 of his last 13 races. A terrific day for Roush Racing, but also DEI, Hendrick Motorsports, and Joe Gibbs Racing with Tony Stewart and Bobby Labonte finishing in the top 5. A sunny Crisp Las Vegas day greeted the drivers in their 400-mile journey. The focus was there. Jeff Gordon led the first 50 laps. The DEI cars, Earnhardt Jr., Michael Waltrip took over. After 100 laps of caution-free racing, there were a number of mishaps. A track record tying 6 cautions, a 7-car bang-up that took out the hometown favorite Kurt Busch. Matt Kenseth of Roush Racing pulled into the lead, and in the city of high rollers, he was the fastest racer. For all of us here, I'm Chris Myers. We'll see you next week in Atlanta on